How we doing, boys and girls? Good morning, good morning. Welcome in, everybody. Hope we're all doing well. Hope you had a good weekend. It's time to play some World of Warcraft again. See what Monday has to offer for us. We got the WoW economy report to investigate a little bit later today. I feel I might be in it. Get my setup up and running. How we doing? Little Luve, good morning to you. Welcome, welcome. Haddock, welcome in. I love your fantastic ability to generate a new emote that's not a thing every day. Thank you for that. I will one day I'll get my emotes in check. One day. Hurricane, how we doing? Welcome, welcome. Seducer, Des Moines, how we doing? Welcome, welcome. I've logged first thing into Area 52, which is our US account. 66k coffee beans. What can I spend them on? I like the idea. While for usage of the channel points, I like the idea of starting to utilize them for some sort of like giveaways or pets or something. I just haven't quite worked out exactly how I'm going to do it. You'll have to excuse me. I'm repositioning my microphone so it's out the way. I've not quite worked out the logistic. Mainly because I have a significant problem nowadays that I have no idea how many coffee beans you lot have. Because I don't have, or at least if I do, I don't have any way to track them, which is weird. Very weird. But I was thinking something along the lines, we were talking about this the other day. I was thinking maybe instead of using the channel points as, like just deleting the pets. I mean, that's funny to a degree, sure. But considering I've got quite a lot of pets nowadays. And some quite valuable pets. It might be more interesting and more beneficial to people to, collect a bunch of pets together and then just give them away. It might be quite cool. I was thinking about something like that, but I don't know quite how, because I don't know, you know me, I'm a maths geek, I love my stats. Without knowing how many coffee beans you lot all have, I don't know what to set the target to be. But these are things I think about during the week. The weekend has been here though, I hope everybody had a good weekend. Hope everybody who was making gold, made a bunch of gold. Anybody who was taking a break, I hope you had a nice relaxing break. Whoa, okay. 23,000 gold worth of just material sales overnight. I'll take that. I will take that. Now hang on, why is Streamlabs kicking about? Where's Sir Coffeebot disappeared? Where's Sir Coffeebot disappeared to? He's hiding. Never a day goes by without some sort of technical issues. Oh dear. Right, well, I'll take 20k worth of material sales overnight, though. We're now at the point where we're not farming these materials. We're just buying them when we see them cheap for flipping. So, if we do a /TSM real quick. Boom! Check the graph. Record numbers. Record numbers. Now up to a grand total of 67,000 gold, which is not huge amounts in terms of liquid numbers, but our inventory is going up nicely as well. 250,000 gold in sales. 250,000 gold in sales, 194,000 gold spent though, which means we've turned a profit of 50k already, just flipping some low-level materials over what looks to be literally about a month, I think we've been sort of casually playing for about a month now. The last month, yeah, nearly exactly to the day. Nearly exactly to the day we started this about a month ago. Buying some materials, selling some stuff, not really venturing too much outside the auction house. It's pretty good to see. Considering it is over on the NA realms, currently 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't imagine there being many people on, but with that in mind, let's... oh wow, look at the stuff we've sold as well. Why are so many people buying stuff at 4 o'clock in the morning on an NA realm? That's crazy. Alright, well, let's cancel all of these off and get them relisted either way. Level 56, getting there? Yeah, slowly but surely. I'm trying to just chip away at the levels a little bit. It's slow and steady because, of course, we have no flying, we have no heirlooms, no nothing. It's a bit of a slog, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Weirdly, though, as much as it's a nice milestone to hit 60, the grind doesn't stop there. Because we're going to have to then go and do all of the campaign and everything like that as well before we can start getting much good progress made. But we don't sleep in the NA? Well, apparently not. Apparently not. Sleep is for the weak, apparently. Let's get these back up on the auction house. Why am I posting Spider Silk at 3k still? I mean, that's actually ludicrous, but sure. Right, that's all listed. Let's go grab everything expired out the mailbox. Work 40 hours, some of us were asleep, the other half are awake and still at work. Yeah, very true. Oh! EU token price has just flipped over 300k again. Only by 25 gold, but it's done it. Been using vestiges to craft rank 4 Legos, 4 to 8k cheaper than normal mats. Lack of crystals on the auction house is becoming a problem. Oh, well, that's good though, right? That's actually an indication that the system is working as it should, because that's kind of the point, right? Is when it's designed to make some sort of a as much as I don't like to give Blizzard much credit for this crafting system with the legendaries, the credit that can be given is that being able to use the Vestige of Origins on a rank 2 with cheap crystals to make a cheap version of a rank 4 creates a sort of floor price for the crystals. This is why a long time ago I said that the floor for Korthite crystals should, in theory, be around the 300 gold mark. Because when they get much lower than 300 gold, they become valuable to early stage legendary crafters to be able to craft cheaper rank 4s. For two purposes, right? To be able to not only craft something that will actually sell, because crafting rank 2s is, you're going to have a hard time selling them. You're creating something that's actually valuable in the eyes of the player base. And additionally to that, you're gaining small amounts of experience to keep chipping away at the, 450 experience you need per slot to actually naturally unlock rank 4. And by the time you unlock the rank 4 pattern, what you're actually, achieving is the ability to make a rank 6. That's the main thing now. Why have we got no sound in the game? Sound effects enabled. There we go. But I'm, in a way, I've not really, because on the two realms that I play heavily on now, I'm maxed on legendaries. But all my legendary crafters have rank 4 everything. So I've not really played around too much with these vestiges, using them to make cheap rank 4s. Although, I did a full restock on my home realm the other day, and had to recraft a whole bunch of rank 4s. So I spent a bit of time trying to work out, well, is it beneficial for me to be using vestiges on rank 2s? Or is it still cost effective to just create them normally? And there's a huge problem with the fact that TSM doesn't, see there to be two ways that you can actually create a rank 4. You can either just make a rank 4 with the rank 4 pattern, or making a rank 2 with a vestige will still give you a rank 4, but obviously the crafting cost is different. I really wish TSM crafting would understand that and just pick the cheaper one and queue up the cheaper one. It seems like such a simple thing to implement, but it's not, which is kind of annoying. We'll leave this dude just chilling for now. All I wanted to do first thing was to actually get his auctions listed. There's a lot, actually saying that, there's a lot of Shadowlands materials in my bags that I should probably sell. Because I don't really need them. Whoa! Especially at those prices. We'll do 12-hour listings. We'll max them out. Let's go. I'm listing my Shadowlands materials manually for now. I really need to implement what's the word I'm looking for? I really need to implement some auctioning operations on my Shadowlands groups that go out to Patreons for materials. Because it is fair to say that there comes a point where you should actually just be selling the materials rather than trying to craft with them. If you're farming, my profile doesn't really do a good job of having that set up for people. Entirely my fault, because it's I just forget in terms of the fact that I so 50 gold a piece for lithium still. I so infrequently sell Shadowlands materials that I weirdly have the assumption in my brain that other people don't sell them, but of course they do. Beneficial for me on all armor types except cloth. Yeah, tailoring's the only one where the price of you can't really cheat the system with tailoring. But it's counteracted by the fact that the natural crafting cost of tailoring is much cheaper to begin with. Unless, of course, your lightless silk is still ridiculously priced, but it shouldn't be by this point. I would imagine by this point, lightless silk is, I mean, it's getting very cheap again over here. But this realm is ridiculous. This realm's actually bonkers. Solinamore at 4 gold a piece. Leystrite. See, Solinamore is cheaper than Leystrite ore. That just shouldn't be a thing. I was going to say 2 gold a piece for Desolate, but no, it's actually that. Wow, this server's probably really good for item level 200 stuff as well. I think this realm is really good. The most expensive material on the auction house is a Korthite crystal at 200 gold. Heavy callous hide at 140 a piece. In quantity. Wow, this realm is crazy. Gonna love me some cheap materials when we really start crafting. Gonna love me some cheap materials. But then on the flip side, look, Phaedrum ore is still 25 gold a piece. Does that in turn make the essence of something? Oh, I haven't even got them on my favourites list. Alright, whatever. Anyway, there's first dude ready and up and running. Let me get my... Let's do some Facebook real quick. Get Facebook out the way on a few characters. Phaedrum ore at 25, Solinum at 5. Yeah, it's a strong indication that Solinum is not in demand. It's obviously not very in demand. Change over to Sylvanus. I can't believe we've got 19 characters on this realm. Have we really got 19 characters? It probably is. But yeah, we've got the Wowhead economy weekly wrap up to do in a little bit. Samadan's once again put this together. We'll go through this in a little bit. I like to give it maybe half an hour to let people filter in, and then we'll have a bit of a flick through this. As I believe I might be featured in this again. Thank you, Samadan. Appreciate it. You may have noticed I'm not on the coffee this morning. Coffee's already done. Coffee's already gone. I'm more in the habit now of getting up at the same time as my wife gets up in the morning and helping her take out the dogs and do all of that sort of good stuff. Which means I'm actually up and out of bed way before the stream starts nowadays. I'm not being a lazy human. Right, let's grab... firstly, let's click the button over here. Click the button, click the button. We need to click the button a few more times. Once we've filled this bar, we can finally reinforce all of the zones. This dude needs to do an anima sweep every other day, as we are 5,000 anima away from maxing out our sanctum on this dude, which will be a milestone complete for me. Then any spare anima we will have, once 9.1.5 launches at least, we'll then have the ability to send spare anima wherever it needs to go. But more importantly, we can start using the anima then to actually complete our all the things list. Tick off all of the pets, the mounts, the appearances, all that sort of, all the collectibles. Let's quickly go waste a whole bunch of anima real quick. Any goodies? Few anima tokens, bag of fish. Bonus XP missions first. Oh, we get our final companion next week as well. We get companion number 22 next week. Oh, hang on. Actually, send it out. Off we go. Because we've got 21 currently. If you look at Renown, though, it's Renown 71 that we get next week, where we get our last companion. So it's at this point, now that, or next week, or next reset, when we have the ability to unlock this, that's when I will probably, I say probably because I'm not guaranteeing anything, probably go through all of my alts and zoom them up to 71 and work on getting all their companions. Or at least we give ourselves the ability to. Because there's no more goodies mission table wise past that. Apart from 76 where we get the big XP token thing. But past that there's no real bonus for the mission tables at least. Can we smash out the anima missions? Let's focus on getting the anima missions. Because any anima that we can acquire through the table, at the moment at least, is a bonus. Oh, what? These guys don't win? Really? Now they win, apparently. It doesn't really matter if they win or not, but because I don't really care so much for the bonus rewards, I'm just in it for the XP. There we go. Boom! Bingo. Next dude. Oh no, I've got no anima on my mage. I've actually got no anima. This is also the thing, you know, once you've got your sanctum maxed out and your main character's going to be able to transfer anima, there'll be a long-term knock-on effect, right? Because the mission table is actually anima can be operated in a way to where it makes you more anima than it costs you. If you're focusing specifically on the rewards you get, that's not always the case. But you can run the mission table in a way that you make a bunch of stuff from the mission table and it's anima positive. And eventually that means that spare anima can then be filtered through to other characters to help upgrade their sanctum and get them at the point where they're profitable without you actually ever leaving or doing anything, which is kind of the ultimate passive system, which is coming. But unfortunately I don't spend any way near enough time on my alts. As you can see that we're almost 2 across the board. But we still need to upgrade this one. We need 5,000 anima to upgrade this one, and then we'll be 2 across the board. Just little things like that. I just don't play my alts enough. That even means I can't even be doing with running about doing Korthia or anything on them. Don't have enough characters at the moment to worry about anima efficiency. Not going to buy boosts when tokens are 300k a piece either. Yeah, the token price is actually getting bonkers. It's interesting to see though. It hit 300k and it sort of seems to be stable. I think it's slightly hang on, I can't do anything with 17 anima, can I? I think it's... Oh, we didn't pick up any anima tokens. Oh, this dude is officially ground into the floor. He's officially not doing anything then until we go get some anima. Oh, boo. Alright, sure. Yeah, I think it's slightly psychological that once the token goes above 300k, I think people are like, ooh, that's all of a sudden a lot of gold. It's the reason why, you know, if you go to the store, everything's like $9.99. Because it makes it... Your brain thinks $9.99 is a lot less than 10. Even though it's exactly the same. My paladin's got a fair amount of anima though. He should still be smashing out the mission table on the daily. 3 is bigger than 2, that's all that people see. Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's you kind of your brain sees the first number and then ignores the rest of them to a degree. Should probably post more auctions at 99 prices, to be honest, but CBA. It's in normal terms it would work, but the way the auction house works, where obviously you are literally just buying the cheapest one anyway. It doesn't really make a difference. Ellison Hold, there we go. For me, it's always 10 if something is over 9 or any other value. I guess people see it in a different way. Did I even send missions out on this dude? I think I might have done. Oh, we got a big 7,500 token there. Oh, we've got... Hang on. Whoa! I've just realised we've got 3 mind expanding prisms. We can boost the crap out of a character right now then. 3 expanding prisms and 2... Oh, okay. Have we got any Lobby characters? Okay, we've still got a dude that's only level 33. We can get him caught up. 35. 37. 38. 39. Is he going to catch up completely? Boom! 40. We managed to get him fully caught up then. Now, I don't have all of the troops on this anyway, but at least that's everybody at 40. Well, that was a bonus. Alright, adventures. Arguably, you should probably zerg to level 60 on your soul mines first, but I like to keep everybody equal, just because I'm weird. Right, bonus XP. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You lot can go on there. You win. Oh, you win just. Holy smoke, okay. Bonus XP, then anima. So, here's an anima one. Put as many people on it as we need to do it. 49 missions we might struggle with still. Here's we do. Oh, there we go. Takes 4 dudes, but we can complete that one. See, this is the thing, right? If I'd leveled up my Sanctum further, this one mission that actually rewards 3 currently could, in theory, reward 5 of these. So by not leveling up my Sanctum on my ults, I'm missing out on a huge amount of anima through the table, which is why it's not self-sufficient to begin with. Let's do... We've done... Are these animal... Oh, these are animal... Oh, there's loads of anima missions, look. Oh, well, it looks like we're churning anima missions then. Bingo. From there, we probably want to pick up... we've only got one dude left, so let's just send him on something that he can win. Something cheap and all. We don't want to be wasting too much anima on a dead mission. There we go. There's 3. Oh, my computer takes so long to load this damn game nowadays. I don't even have that many add-ons. I don't know why it takes forever. It's on an SSD. I don't have that many add-ons installed. It just takes days. I don't know why. I mean, I could absolutely do with a new computer, but like, it surely, like, I still don't think it should take this long to load. Damn, we've not got a huge amount of anima over here either. Ooh dear. Oh! Oh, we've got a mount though. Oh, we've already know that one. Boo. Lots of stuff I should probably open. Bonus XPs. Let's give bonus XP to somebody. Whoever's the lowest. You're the lowest. Get you caught up. Any more bonus XPs? No, these are just boxes I should probably open. These are pets that I've already capped out on. Okay. Right, bonus XP. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bingo. Anima. I'm yet to get to the point where Night Fae feel super OP. I think once they get into their mid-40s, that's when you should really start to zoom with the Night Fae. But I just need to get those few, because they still can't quite do well enough against some of the stronger missions, the ones that give you the anima at least, which is annoying. Not to mention these level 39 missions are horrendously annoying to complete. There we go. That one we can do. From there, there's not a huge amount, so if we can't complete this level 49 mission, let's at least do something that gives lots of XP. Wow, the mission selection's terrible. Okay then. Let's see if we can complete... Okay, the mission selection is actually terrible today. In that case, we Zerg missions. We just burn through a bunch of them. Oh hell, what's going on here? Oh, there we go. Need somebody with good AoE for this one, I think. Arguably not these dudes. Oh, you like useless. Nope. Professional losers, these lot.
Hello there.
Hello there. Welcome in. How we doing? Good morning. Oh, Brewfest has started. That's true. We should maybe go on a little bit of a hunt for Brewfest stuff.
You don't belong in this world!
Oh no. Oh no. After a lovely warm welcome, we've gone the other way. Hello, microphone. Why is my OBS crashed? You managed to... have we effed? Are we still good? No, we're still good. What? My computer's having a heart attack. Right. For those of you that are... not aware, you can cash in 50,000 of your coffee beans, and it will forcibly make me dispose of one of my pet collection. I'm really hoping it's not anything juicy. We've got some pretty big, pretty valuable pets nowadays. Oh god. Now I'm worried. What is it going to be? Shotgun or a sack? Oh dear. I can't remember what the command is. Is it random pet? If I spell random right. So, whatever we summon, we will send them back out into the wild. We look at our collections and pet journal. Oh, I haven't got the add-on on this toon. We have some relatively valuable pets. I'm really hoping we don't pull out anything good. Imagine getting rid of a spectral tiger cub. I think the day that happens, I think I might cry. Because that's a 1,000,000 gold pet nowadays. And I've got 2 of them, which is double scary. But let's summon something and send them back out into the wild. It is... Oh, it's a wiggly boy. It's a rock viper. That's not too bad. I can live with a rock viper. Oh, it's the only one we've got, though. Ow. My collection goes -1. F's in chat for Mr. Wiggly Boy. See you later. He's a goner. Sad day. Sad day. Poor snake. Poor snake. I'll let you know this was on you. This was on you. Oh well. There's another one I'm going to have to go back out and re-farm up. Oh dear. Well, it could definitely have been worse. Absolutely, definitely could have been worse. So I think, as far as I'm concerned, that's a win. I'm going to take the dub on that one. If you cage at least 1 cub, your odds are better. I'm willing to risk it. God damn, these tunes are useless. Can we do something constructive then? Not really. Oh! This ring's an upgrade. we'll get an upgrade then, sure. That's how you gear up in this game nowadays. You just do the mission table. Easy win. Let's just get a bunch of people doing stuff. Let's get them out there. Get them out there. Can you solo the campaign just for lols? No, of course you can't. I need something cheap, something easy. Alright, well, let's just send you on there. If, like, by some miracle you happen to win, you win. But otherwise, you get the XP. Right. There we go. There's Facebook done and dusted. Facebook done and dusted out of the way. Let's get some auctions listed then. See if we sold anything yesterday. I don't think I actually... Did I even list my auctions yesterday? Oh my god, I can't remember. I'm not sure if I did. We'll close this account for now. Oh, I think I know why my computer's having a heart attack. I don't think this account had... I think it's trying to run all instances of WoW at 60 FPS, which is probably the problem. Getting closer to 2k followers on Twitch though. It's not a metric that I sort of chase, but 2,000 followers on Twitch would be a nice milestone number if nothing else. So if you haven't already, check to see whether you've hit that follow button. We're 1,926 followers currently. Be nice to hit 2k. Like I said, I don't chase the follower number. I try to chase as few numbers as possible, because it's way too easy to get caught up in the numbers as a smaller content creator. Oh my god, 530 auctions to post. Oh dear. Oh dear. Wow. Some of you guys have very interesting usernames. Alco Holiday 69. Thanks. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Everything's about to expire. Maybe I did post everything on the auction house, and I posted it at about this time yesterday by the looks of things. Okay, sure. Right, well let's get all of this back up on the auction house then. Let's hope then, buried somewhere in this mailbox, there's a whole bunch of gold from stuff that we sold. I need to work out how I can check gold value before posting. Then check gold value after posting. Oh, you're talking about how my deposit fees? Yeah, I try not to think about that. I probably should, but I try my best not to think about that. Luckily, most of my posting is legendaries, which are basically free. I think they're like 1 silver a piece to list, but yeah, all the gear that I post, every time it doesn't sell, like a versatile Solidum necklace, 4 gold, just a post, and I post 3 of them. The deposit costs are a bit scary. But it's all part of doing business, right? It's all part of doing business. This is why I this is why I worry for those people that try and make a lot of gold, or try to make gold with transmog. That especially, it's alright if it's super old stuff. Like vanilla transmog doesn't cost anything to list on the auction house. But if you're still trying to sell through, or you're selling like, I don't know, uncanny gear for example, a single uncanny weapon or armor piece could cost you 16 gold just to put it on the auction house. And if that's got a sell rate of like, I don't know, 0.02 or something nowadays, you're going to spend like a good few hundred gold by the time that thing is sold. Just on posting fees alone. Which often creates the illusion that when you sell something, you're selling it and it's profitable. There's a huge sunk cost though of just listing the damn things 50 times. You may have noticed that there's a new operation here. I've created a dump operation for some of my lower level legendaries, of which I'm just considerably keener on just getting rid of the damn things. To the point where I'm almost contemplating just vendoring a bunch of rank 1s. Well, I know you can't vendor them, but just deleting them, because I just cannot be dealing with them all day, every day, considering they just don't sell. I'm trying, slowly but surely, to minimize, or at least reduce, the amount of things that I'm relisting on each account. Because when you start posting 400, 500, 600, 700 things, it starts to just be too much to actually handle and manage quickly. I want my relists to, you know, take 10 minutes max. I don't want my relists to take 45 minutes because I'm just relisting so much stuff. But it kind of means that I'll probably get to the point where, you know, I'll post rank 4s, rank 6s, and then very select other items. Oh dear, this gold total is not looking great. I was oh dear. Let's hope all the sales are at the bottom of the mailbox. Yeah, to spend 16,000 gold just relisting auctions is that's quite an expense. That's definitely an expense that you should probably take into consideration. Because that 16k comes straight out of any profit that you make. It's the risk of crafting though, right? The fact that this is, we'll talk about this a little bit more later in the stream, because I obviously know what's coming, but when it comes to selling crafted gear, it's super frequent that people just, you know, they value their item based on how much it costs them to craft. That would be great and all if there was an undo button on crafting, because once you've made the decision to take materials and turn them into something, there's no going back. There's no undo, which kind of means that, you know, valuing items based on what they cost to craft is not actually that sensible. That should be your thought process before you craft it, but not necessarily after. Because the value of something is more determined by its usefulness to somebody else. It's a good metric to start with, but I think the average player uses it wrong, and I include myself in that. Having too many posting operations that utilize crafting is dangerous. Long term, it's dangerous. Long term, it will mean that you end up with a lot of stuff that just doesn't sell. All the yeses. It's safer though, right? This is the thing, and this is why anybody that has my TSM profile with operations as well, I still use crafting because it is safer, right? Any profile that I give out to the masses, I want it to be safe, because ignoring the crafting cost, while it is actually the sensible thing to do, when you don't have a lot of gold to waste, it's dangerous. The argument is that if you craft something and have to sell it for less than what it cost you to craft it, you probably shouldn't have crafted it. But we rely so heavily on add-ons like Trade School Master to tell us what to craft and what not to craft, that if Trade School Master one day sees something as profitable and tells you to craft it, and you do so, and you follow it blindly, then you end up having to then sell that thing for way less than what it cost you to craft. You might have done that whole process and not even seen it happen, which means you've not learned from it, which is a problem. I do think that people use Trade School Master too blindly. They expect it to just work. Don't want to take the time to learn how it works. They just want it to work. And as a result, they come across errors. I keep my eyes on the TSM official support channel on Discord, and a lot of the time, I mean, a good 70-80% of the questions there could very easily be answered themselves if they had even the slightest understanding of what they were doing with the add-on in the first place. I imagine Gumdrops gets pretty annoyed at the fact that content creators like myself give out their profiles to other people. I try to keep mine simplistic and easy enough that it can be used as a learning as a learning tool. But I know for a fact there are some TSM profiles that are, I'll say, publicly available, whether you have to, you know, get them through somebody's Patreon or not. But there are definitely some public profiles out there that are very high level experience with TSM required to actually operate. And then of course somebody installs it and it doesn't do what they expect it to do, and they have no idea, actually no idea how to fix the problem. I see people posting like operation strings in the TSM Discord that even I struggle to read and understand. And I know this add-on inside out. The fact that some people are using operation strings that they have no idea what they're doing, I think is super dangerous. You say that, but more and more of the group import-export is being geared towards sharing of profiles between different people, i.e. you to the masses and not me to my second account. Just look at the removal of mailing operations from the export functionality. Well, that's true. I mean, you either play the game or you get played. So TSM are aware that people are sharing their profiles and they don't really have anything against it. The problem, I refer to it being a real big Gumdrops issue more than anything else, because he's usually the one that has to go through and, you know, solve the customer support issues that turn up because of it. He's the one that's trying to teach the people, or trying to fix people's problems when they obviously have no idea what caused the problem in the first place. Needed to be an optional include rather than a flat removal. I know why they removed it, because I mean, that would be super open to abuse, right? So somebody creates a profile with a mailing operation, mailing everything to their own character. Some random Joe installs it, clicks go, and then accidentally, you know, sends all of their stuff to some random character with no repercussions. Wide open for abuse. Wide open for abuse. Yesterday, the Orb of Mastery was at a cost of 1 silver. No idea how that happened. In my crafting cost, that is. Probably because Trade School Master forgot what it costs off a vendor. There may have been a time, because the default material value will take into consideration the vendor cost, but only if it knows what the vendor cost is. Outside of that, it's going to refer to like DB market price and stuff. Somebody might have listed one on the auction house at 1 silver on your realm at some point accidentally, and it's caused Trade School Master to log that information, which it now will then revert to using when it doesn't know the vendor value. Any single vendor material in the game that you buy or look to buy, you should go in and change it to a hard fixed gold value. Easily one of the most common issues with TSM. Easily one of the most common issues that the vendor prices for materials go way out of whack. I don't know why TSM for some reason forgets the vendor cost of stuff all the time, but it happens so very frequently, especially on alt accounts that don't visit the vendor very frequently. I think that's what happened. Panthers crashed in price, people not watching what's happening. It's another reason not to blindly follow Trade Skill Master and trust everything it says. Because yeah, it's all, like for imagine you go like this is real tinfoil hat business here, but imagine you go buy an Orb of Mystery and it costs you 20,000 gold and you buy it from the vendor. You list it on the auction house for 1 silver, leave it there an hour, hope that nobody buys it, and even if somebody does buy it, well, you've just wasted 20,000 gold. But you now set up a sniper string for all the Panthers, and everybody's Trade Skill Master information now thinks that each one of those is worth 1 silver each. And a bunch of people come in and they post their Panthers based on crafting price, which this also, you know, ties back into what we were saying earlier, that actually using crafting cost in your auctioning operations is not that sensible. But imagine you screw over, but by selling 1 Orb of Mastery at 1 silver, you've screwed over everybody else's on your servers, their auctioning operations for Panthers. And you just sit there and you wait. You have a sniper scan running on Panthers and you wait. And you wait until people post them on the auction house for 1,000 gold a piece, because that's what TSM thinks they cost. You snag them up and you win. That's how crooked people are. It's meta level crazy, but I bet you that's probably a thing. That's fine to say, but has anybody a list of all of the hundreds of vendor items that need to be updated? Yes! That's why I include vendor items in my TSM profile. For that exact reason. You bought one for 1 silver and foolish enough to then use smart average buy in your crafting and all your yeah, this is it. This is it. There's even when you could have the most sophisticated TSM profile, but it's still open to abuse if you're not paying attention to what it's doing. Definitely risky. Have I cleared out my mailbox? Oh, I have. Oh, shit. How much gold did we make? I actually paid no attention to that. I was doing that entirely on autopilot then. God, this graph looks horrendous. We need to get back to these dizzy heights of 20 mil plus. Let's go. Can we just go like last week then maybe? What did we make? We went from 17.2 up to 17.4. So what, like 270k or something like that? Okay. Sure. What did I do here? How did I go from 18 mil down to 16? What the hell did I buy then? Oh, I know what that was. That was when I did my restock of legendaries. Oh, if my restock cost me less than 2 mil, I'm happy about that. Because we restocked a lot of legendaries. That's fine. If I look at my LST graph, for example, we are pretty stocked. There's a few holes here and there, but generally speaking, we're pretty stocked. hover over the gold value on LVI. What, like in my bag? Oh, down here. Spent 1,495. That must be how much it cost me to list everything on the auction house. And we looted 272,000 gold out the mailbox. Huh, cool. Fair enough. I genuinely didn't know that was a thing. That's handy information to have, actually, you know. GG, LVI. Derpalicious, how we doing? Welcome in. Hope you're well. Token, 300k. Yeah. Mad level token right now. What's that now? I've got 4 accounts running. So that's what, 1.2 million gold a month it costs me to play the game. Crazy. Right, there was one account done. Let's get the second. Let's get the next. Get Tor and Mill done real quick. Then we can take a look at the economy report for the week. Bit annoyed that TSM won't show my gold count even when it's on the same account. Oh, that's weird. Although, to be fair though, the TSM gold numbers, I almost ignore them nowadays. Because they seem to do some weird and wacky stuff. I think my accounting, especially on Tor and Mill, my accounting seems to have gone completely wackadoodle. And I don't know how or where or why it happened. I think there's probably... it's weird. It feels like there's almost like a week's worth of data missing. I don't know how or why. Counting on my main realms really off, it shows a minus loss of 93 million. yeah. So that's a problem. That's a problem. Oh, this is another problem. Problem being we have 0 stuff on the auction house. Oh god. Well, I guess let's just list what's in our bags to start with then. Auctioning, go. And yes, we're in Orgrimmar all of a sudden. It was Pirates Day yesterday, wasn't it? Which meant Booty Bay was just getting the NPCs in Booty Bay were just having a bad day yesterday, so I moved myself over to Orgrimmar to do some posting for a while. TSM has a brain fart sometimes if you use different profiles for different realms on the same account. Well, you see, I do a lot of that, which is why I understand that it's a bit broken. Imagine not having a long boy so you can't bypass. Well, yes, that's also very true. That's it. There was a pirate in my booty. Luckily, I'm Volpera though, so I have my Hearthstone set to Orgrimmar, and my camp is set to Booty Bay, so I can just jump between the two if needed. I'll get that long boy once upon a time. We'll see. How the fuck are you? I'm good, man. I'm good. It's Monday. It's time for another week's worth of fun. I had a nice, relaxing weekend. I did my absolute best to not play too many video games over the weekend. I know that's completely the opposite of most people's schedules. But it was nice to take a little bit of a break for a couple of days. We'll get back into it this week. I'm in a weird way though. A couple of days without streaming and without thinking too much about content creation is slowly but surely telling me that I need to focus more on my YouTube side of things. My priorities are flipped at the moment and I don't know how to fix it. And what do I mean by that? Well, I think I need to put more time and effort into my YouTube channel. because that's arguably the bread and butter for me. Whilst live streaming is just kind of like my hobby. And I need the YouTube channel to be somewhat more consistent. I feel in the last few weeks, maybe even last month or so, I've been a bit lazy with the YouTube channel. And I feel I'm letting down the YouTube crew. YouTube to shuffle people in as Patreon. Whilst I would like that to be the case, that's not my intention with it, no. I mean, if I wanted to do that, I'd go absolute hardcore, disgustingly gross sellout mode. But I don't want to shoot myself in the foot. That's how I got there. I mean, I can't deny. I mean, that is one of the goals of the YouTube, for sure. But it's not the top priority. I was quite surprised, actually, to see Zanzaful posted a video at a weird and wacky time yesterday. Maybe he's trying to catch some of the NA audience. Talking about vendor shuffles. And I took a little watch of it this morning and was pleasantly surprised to see that he'd used my my Shadowlands cheat sheet for the vendor shuffles in his video, which was quite nice. Vendor shuffles are one of those things that I think are great to do when there's not many other options, but I think vendor shuffles have a limited appeal to most, though. Isn't that the fantastic thing about you just making good content and thanking the patrons? That if you make good content, people would want to join no matter. That's why I joined. Well, that's kind of my goal, right? While I find that there's a fine line with Patreon. I obviously want to, you know, I hate it when the transaction is only one way, regardless of, you know. I understand that theory, right? Make good content and people would want to just support passively on Patreon anyway. I like that, sure. Who wouldn't like that? But at the same time, I kind of want to make sure that if you do look at supporting me on Patreon, that the value goes both ways. Which is why I've put a little bit more time and effort in recently to get like the TSM profile for Patreon. You know, as a bit more full, a bit more complete. Because I think that's one let's call it significant advantage that people have of joining the Patreon. You don't need to sound so desperate. Join my Patreon. YouTube ad revenue sucks. YouTube ad revenue does suck, especially at my level. My YouTube channel is never going to make me a millionaire. I actually think my Twitch channel is more profitable nowadays than my YouTube channel. I try to avoid focusing on the money side of stuff. It's literally goal number one, to like not pay too much attention to, you know, monetizing the content. Quality content first, and then if I can make it profitable, if I can make it worthwhile to continue doing it, then I'll continue doing it. Oh, there's a drastically low amount of gold in this mailbox as well. I'm really hoping there's some juicy stuff at the bottom of it. Or just use and just play World of Warcraft in a hot tub, yeah. Sit in a hot tub with my long boy, yeah. You guys know I'm not very good at the sellout stuff. I'm not good at that. The special services? Oh dear. Oh dear. Starting to sound a lot more like OnlyFans. There's a lot of legendaries we're throwing up cheap at the moment. Although it's concerning me that things like Bone Shatter Vest at 225, why are these still being listed so horrendously expensively? Maybe there's just not many people that make them. I guess that's probably a bonus, right? There are some of the off-meta pieces that I've unlocked just because I'm a completionist and unlocked everything that so few people have actually crafted. Maybe that's why random, you know, rank 5 and rank 6, like Bone Shatter Vest Guard actually sell. Because there's just nobody crafting and posting them. Because most people look at it and think that it's an actually ludicrous thing to do. Make a donation goal for an inflatable longboy? I don't even think they exist. Although I'm sure if I looked on, you know, Amazon or eBay or AliExpress or something, you could probably find an inflatable dinosaur. You can do that nasty ass shit ear licking ASMR stuff. I mean, I do have the fancy microphone nowadays. I just don't have an ASMR voice though, let's be fair. My voice is not designed for ASMR. My voice is way too scratchy and harsh for most people. I don't think the British accent tends to lend itself very nicely to ASMR. It is not soothe. It is not smooth. It is not soothing. I know my voice is not good for that. Ask any American, they'll disagree with you. Well, I suppose maybe. I don't even think I've got that much of a British accent. I think I've always thought that my accent is relatively neutral. Yeah, you can still tell that I'm English, but... Some rank 1s, 2s and 3s end up making more profit than the 4, 5s and 6s because people are thinking that they're not profitable. It's very true. It's very true. But in a weird way, I almost ignore profit nowadays entirely. Like for me, sale rate is worth so much more than profit. It's not even funny. It like if I can make 1,000 gold selling something, but I can sell 10 of them a day without much issue, I'd much rather do that than have to fight over an item that is hang on, please hold. Yeah, I would much rather sell lots of cheap stuff quickly and easily than have to kind of fight over selling one thing. And this is why selling ranks 1s, 2s and 3s, even if I open LST and we look at, see these for example, rank 2 Umberhide stuff, I absolutely should be crafting and selling rank 2 Umberhide stuff based on these numbers. But there's a significant problem with that for me, that it means I have to make the damn things and then I have to fight over selling them. It's just not in my vested interest to do it, even though that they appear to be profitable. And also what I tend to find with the lower rank stuff is just because it looks profitable today doesn't mean that in 24 hours time the situation will be the same, right? Because there's probably 25,000 different people trying to sell rank 2 stuff. It just so happens to be that there was a reset on Umberhide helms. Like, this is why you shouldn't blindly follow add-ons. It's another example, right? Just because it says it's profitable doesn't mean it actually is. I mean, it might appear profitable now, but who's to say that if you were to list it at that price, it would actually sell? This is, a common problem. A common problem with using predetermined profit margins based on snapshots of the auction house. Everything being based on, current listings is also quite dangerous, because it doesn't matter what something's listed for. We only get good data of what is listed on the auction house. We don't get good data of what things sell for. Trade Schoolmaster has a good guess, and in some scenarios you do get average sort of sale data, but even then it's not so accurate. I mean, it's still, if nothing more, just an indication, because it's also based on averages again. This is the problem, that we don't, have good sales data to base these opinions on. You'll be selling potions and food soon? Well, I probably won't go that far, because that swings in the other direction even more so. That at the same time, sure, you can sell 1,000 potions without much issue, but to make, 10 silver on each one is not in my interest, considering how long it would take to craft those 1,000 potions. There's a middle ground that I'm slowly trying to find. I usually think the higher sell rate, the lower the profit margin for turnover, of course. Yeah, say like turnover is king in my world now. I don't really care about how much profit is made on an item. You need to either sell very few well or volume and then rely on the automation. Yeah, trying to find that middle ground is a bit tough, but I'm getting there. I think that's everything listed over here though now. Did we loot the gold? It doesn't look like we looted the gold, or did we loot the gold? We didn't. 150k. Oh god, that's terrible. Alright, sure. This is what happens when you post stuff and just leave it. Sell potions, make good gold of it, especially when I get your mats super cheap. Well, that's it. It's almost in the low-level consumable market. It's just a different game, right? The approach that you take has to be different. So it's also more fun to see 500k in a mailbox, even if it is less profit, rather than 150k of it being almost all profit. It's true. Yeah, big numbers excite people. Big numbers definitely excite people. Yeah, we've had Bit of a dip in gold over the last few days. Mainly this was also had something to do with the fact that I did a restock as well. And once again, what I would consider pretty... Does this seem to indicate that I've not sold a single rank 6 since I restocked? Oh, that's gross. But yeah, you can see, I don't really... the ranks 1s, 2s and 3s that you see I have currently is more because they're what I had by power leveling the professions. Or what was left over from leveling the professions. It's not necessarily to say I power leveled, but I didn't really do any power leveling of Umbrahide. It was just natural sales. But this was the first area that I leveled up on this realm. Blacksmithing, on the other hand, I basically power leveled the whole thing. And as you can see, ranks 1 through till 3, I've not shifted any of them. It's also kind of relief to see big numbers in certain markets. Seeing that 5k profit item being sold for 500k. Yeah, you're relieved it sold decently instead of tanking. True. Getting into some, you know, high-end flipping. Dealing with exotics is one thing I want to start looking at in a little bit more detail soon. Because I'm kind of aware that sitting on millions of just liquid gold on these realms is a bit silly. I should be using it for something. Even if that something is just doing silly things with it. We look at mounts, for example. We're not paying 5k for another rocket, though. Jesus, look at the price of these chewed on reins of the terrified pack mules. 900k a piece. Outrageous. June scavengers at 330. Golden mains at 320. My days. There's one swift lovebird over here. One at 100k. Make gold on TBC? Nah, it's totally useless. Totally pointless making gold in TBC. Inflation kicks in way too hard in TBC. You get gold for free by doing nothing in TBC. Some pretty good prices on these stuff. 50k still for a Sky Golem. 50k for the Vial of Sands. Isn't the damn, that's crazy good money in a Vial of Sands. Well, it's like 28,000 gold cost on those things, right? 30,000 gold. That's like 15 or so thousand gold profit in a Vial of Sands by the looks of things. Jeweled Onyx Panthers are cheap though. Very cheap. Each Panther's like, what, 25k a piece? Plus your, okay, so there's 15k and 115. That's 15% profit, I suppose. Got a vial for 37 on Torin Mill last week. Yeah, I think see, these big servers, they're probably pretty good for these things because it's such a big server, there's probably a lot, and hence why there's only one Swift Lovebird on the auction house. Because people do buy this stuff. And the sale rate on a big server like this is probably a lot more so, like 10 times the sale rate to what you'll get on any other realm. See, there we go, 28,000 gold a piece. That's taking into consideration there's at least 20,000 gold of vendor mats in that. That Vial of the Sands profits are a mind it, so it's not even that really. I can't remember. I've not looked into the Vial of the Sands for a while. Cost you about 10 million gold per server to start pet arbitrage. Thought you'll eventually cut that down as you determine what's good and what's not. Yeah, that's kind of well, I've said this a lot, that's a long, it was the long-term goal for me in Shadowlands was to get into the more evergreen markets, the markets that don't necessarily require to be a brand new raid out or something like that, something that, you can just chip away at constantly. The herbs are a pain in the ass to farm and a tad expensive. It's the Azura's Veil or something, isn't it? Is that what it's called? There's one herb specifically. Your Cinderbloom and your Whiptail, piece of piss. You just do laps. But there's the third herb that's an annoying one to farm, and usually the expensive one if you buy it. There's a lot of that mentality going around with the Vial of the Sands. I imagine it to be sure, yeah. The one in Azura, yeah. I can't remember exactly what it's called. Poor Rains of Poseidus, though. Do you remember when these things were like 100k a piece? Ooh. Lunchtime. Thank you. Oh, shit. The bed, that's hot. Huh? Oh, it's not a family-friendly stream. Not by any imagination. Yeah, thank you. My wife was telling me I'll get cancelled if I swear on stream. It's not that kind of stream. I try to keep my language in check on the YouTube videos, but... Yeah, poor Rains of Poseidus though, man. Once upon a time, these were expensive. People in Samadan's stream started to speculate if Legion Alchemy will be popular if the Mage Tower returns. Why would Legion Alchemy when it's going to scale up to Shadowlands? So surely it just incentivizes current alchemy, right? Unless there's any specific more the utility potions maybe. Time walking scales up as well, so why? I mean, if we were, I know technically we scale down, but what actually is happening is that, you know, everything is just scaling up to us. Pretty sure alchemy's going to fly off like crazy. Hang on. Do we need to look into this in more detail? Hang on. I don't have alchemy here. Oh, my dog's going mad. Did you ever buy potions for time walking? I mean, I don't buy potions for anything ever. I'm not the person to ask on that, but I would imagine maybe it's, yeah, does anybody, not for the time walking, no, but the Mage Tower, because there's, you know, it's meant to be difficult. Where's my alchemist? Let's have a look. While I nom on some lunch real quickly, we can have a look. If enough people believe it, then it will be profitable, even if it's false. Well, that's true. Yeah, like fake news travels faster than real news, so I guess that's it could be a thing. Never got tools of the trade for alchemy. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I don't think I've used this alchemist much at all, ever, but Mage Tower's solo. That was the whole big thing about it. That it was a solo thing. There's no boosting. There's no teaming. So what could possibly have been from Legion? Oh, Hang on. Hang on. Do I not even have... Oh, my days. I don't even have Legion Alchemy. Well, there's, Mr. Professions here. Okay, let's take a look at Alchemy of the Broken Isles then, considering I apparently don't even have it. We're looking at utility stuff. What the hell's a Ley Torrent potion? Restore up to a bunch, but yeah, cool. Deadly boring. Oh, fuck a duck. I've just remembered. Legion Alchemy was just proc everything, wasn't it? Everything was a proc. I remember now. I did have this once upon a time, but on another character, which has since not got it. It all comes back to me. The question is, though, is any of this going to be more worthwhile than what you can currently get with the Shadowlands equivalent? Infuses the player with light energy, allowing them to sometimes deal extra damage against demons. Only usable outdoors in Broken Isles and Argus. I can't really remember any of this, to be honest. A bunch of transmutes and whatever. Utility stuff. What's the utility stuff? Show demons on the minimap. That's dead. Falling a great distance will call you to transform into an avalanche when you that's dead. Chug it. Well, I don't know what that does. Enter the spirit realm, giving the imbiber invis pot. Sky step potion. This is the one that people used for a while, right? Movement speed by 150. Ineffective above level 50. The unbending one. Used for the Warlock class Order Hall questline. Oh, okay. Unless I'm missing something, I can't really imagine why any of this would be of any value to anybody for time walking in Legion. Because current expansion equivalents will still be usable and probably will be more potent. So, I don't know. And secondly, I don't really want to have to level it up. I can't remember what character used to be my alchemist then, because the way look at the amount of alchemy that I just don't have access to on this dude. That means that this shaman wasn't always my alchemist. Where the hell was my original alchemist on then? I have no idea. This shows you, though, how much I have never really cared for alchemy. Like, the completionist in me, though, wants to level this up just so I can say that I have. Feel like a bit of a scam artist, you know, promoting gold making through crafting when I haven't even got half the crafting. I should also actually just level this dude up. There's two characters, right, that I want to get leveled up relatively soon. We have Rocket Chick being my shaman. Because they are my alchemist, it makes sense that I should have all of access to everything. Or I want to have access to everything, I should say. Secondly, there's my warrior, because he's my engineer, and weirdly, my scribe. The fact that we know that inscription is going to get a little bit of love with the new glyphs for they're not glyphs, are they? They're called marks. The new marks for druids. Gives me a good reason to get my warrior leveled up. But I'm not really sure I can be bothered. What is that shaman look? What's wrong with this? This is some badass transmog, I'll let you know. Actually outrageous level transmog. Weirdly, the one character I actually want to level up is my warlock. Why? Because the new warlock mage tower set looks incredible. And I don't even like... I don't transmog any character. Not a single character has had more than about 3 seconds of time spent transmogging. I just don't do it. But the new warlock set looks very spicy. On that, by the way, was there anyone that was rep gated? I haven't looked into it, and I know you looked into them for a video I had on in the background. I can't. There was about 7 or 8. Each one had a different source that you had to get it from. There was probably some that were rep gated, but not by much. They'll only ever be rep gated, like maybe Honored or something like that. Then they're not going to be huge rep gates. I don't think we're going to see stuff locked behind Exalted. I didn't pay too much attention when I did my video for them on the acquisition of them, because they had just hit the PTR, and if I'm honest, I expect them to change. So closer, when we get a release date, then we'll, you know, then we can take a little bit of a deeper dive and try and work out the specifics, because by that point you would hope that, you know, it's solidified. It's locked in. I haven't got any rep at all on my scribe except... Well, my scribe is still level 50, so you're ahead of me. You're ahead of me. Current guess for release date? Mid-October. Mid-October. I can't see why it would take any more or any less time than that, really. We've had the PTR for a couple of weeks. They've been throwing the basics on there. There's no new content. The only thing that might slow it down is this Legion time walking, but on the flip side of that, it's Legion time walking is not going to come out, I don't think, at the exact same time anyway, so they can get that done, you know, and just make it go live whenever they want. In fairness, it would be nice to see 9.1.5 turn up a week or two before the Legion time walking event starts, because there's a good chance that people will want to come back to the game, maybe level up some characters, maybe do some simple gearing, because there are people out there that will want to go through the mage tower on every class. So we'll see. But let me get rid of my lunch stuff, and then we'll do the economy report. I usually do this about an hour into the stream, but we're almost 2 hours into the stream at this point, and I forgot about it. So we'll dive onto it in a minute. For those that want the link, maybe want to have a little bit of a heads up, I'll throw the link in chat there. We'll go through this in a minute. I have a sneaky feeling that I might be in this one. But yeah, we'll do this in a minute. I'll be back in 2, boys and girls. Alrighty. I think Mandius has been bribing Samadan for shoutouts. They're the cheapest bribes in history. Be ready to snag up some island expedition pieces when 915 drops. I believe there's going to be a lot of people farming them. Yeah, I think at the beginning there'll be a bunch of people diving into them. Mainly because people want to get those last couple of pets and mounts, that sort of stuff. They won't necessarily be in there specifically for the transmog so much. But the mounts especially, because there was some cool mounts in the island expeditions. There's the Student Albatross mount. There's a couple of cool ones. Why would you snag them? Well, it goes on the same theory of supply and demand, right? The fact that when everybody dives in there, because it will be a new thing, the likelihood is there'll be a huge spike in supply of these transmog stuff. And as we know, transmog is very much valued based on its availability. So the more of them that all of a sudden become available, it will drive the price down. Giving, the likelihood that it's only a chance, but giving the likelihood that there'll be a huge spike in supply of these transmog pieces, and by the time that, solo islands stop becoming, flavor of the month and just goes back to, regular stuff, that the value of those transmogs will go back up again. But that's a big speculation for sure. A guesstimation. A solid guesstimation, yes. Right, let me get a drink on the go, and then we'll go through this. For those of you that may be new to the stream today or have not been able to join before on a Monday, when we go through this, I like to go through it in a fashion which will allow me to just, snip this section of the stream out and utilize that for my YouTube video. Lots of people on the YouTube seem to enjoy me going through this weekly wrap up, so I've, committed to do it once a week. It does mean that whilst I will answer questions in chat, I don't keep quite as much of an eye on chat while we go through this. But we'll do a big Q&A section at the end of it, maybe read the comments if they're funny. Often the comments end up triggering me, but we'll see. YouTube voice activate. Yes, people also seem to claim that I have a YouTube voice. I don't see it. I think you're all lying. I think it's fake news, but we'll see. So, drink at the ready, so that I don't dehydrate and die mid-recording. So then, boys and girls, welcome to this week's Wowhead Economy Weekly Wrap-Up. This is going to be episode 195. First thing we do, as we do every week, is give a bit of a shout-out to Samadan, who puts the time and effort together of collating this little report, and it goes up on the Wowhead blog every Sunday evening. There's a link in the description down to this if you want to have a read yourself, but let's have a look and see what we're going through this week. So, we have the value of some items, or how to value items. We have 80 plus million gold in patch 9.1. There's some big numbers there for sure. There's a discussion point on whether stats matter, and then there is some further reading for you guys that want to dive in a little bit deeper. So, firstly, let's talk about the value of items. Now, I kind of prompted this conversation, so we'll gloss over this relatively quickly, and we'll get onto the stuff that I've not already talked about. But I posed a question over on the subreddit a few days ago, questioning how we value items in the game and what price sources we can use, and then some further thinking behind what you might want to do with them. So very quickly, crafting, DB market, and smart average buy price are all price sources that TSM provides us with when helping to value an item, but how can we use those when listing and selling stuff on the auction house? We were talking about this earlier on stream today, actually, in fact, that utilizing the crafting price source within TSM, within your auctioning operations, while it is a safe way of doing things, it's not necessarily the most constructive way of doing things. Because whilst you can take materials and turn them into an item, there's no undo button. You can't go the other way. So once you've taken the risk of crafting that item in the first place, the value of the item that you've crafted isn't actually directly linked to the cost of materials, because there's no way to get those materials back once you've chosen to do it. The valuation of that crafted item then switches to a different set of values. You're looking at the usefulness of the item, you're looking at the power of the item, you're looking at things like the rarity of the item. You're valuing it in a very different way. Even though, sure, it was crafted with a bunch of materials and we know the value of those materials, there's not actually a direct link between them. And so this is why I put forward the question. Of, well, how do you guys do it? This went up on the Reddit, on the WoW Economy subreddit, and a bunch of people replied with a couple of interesting bits of feedback on how they deal with this sort of problem. One of them being Woo. He's a common a regular to the chat, to the stream, to the YouTubes. He chimed in with, well, both matter to him as an extent. He always likes to make a profit on an item, but sometimes due to either bad judgment or some unforeseen circumstances, the market can turn against you. And in such a scenario, you either need to cut your losses or adjust your valuation downwards. If you envisage a future scenario where the prices will rise again, you might want to wait out until the market rebounds. And then he goes into a little bit of detail of the specifics about how he does it. But this sort of paints a good picture, right? It's sort of indicating that using the cost to make the item is a good start, but sometimes you've either made a bad decision in crafting it in the first place, or a good example like Corthite crystals. Something changes in the game, and that change in the game heavily devalues or sometimes increases the value of a certain item, and you need to be able to react to it. If you still start posting your stuff based on what it cost you to make it, you're going to be super uncompetitive when it comes to selling that item. And the worst case scenario is you just won't sell that item because you're valuing it wrong. So Wu chimes in with a couple of ways that he tries to achieve this by using some smart use of averages in his operations to kind of, find a middle ground. If the market turns against you, then you've got a fallback option so that your things will still list, you'll still be competitive. Sure, you might have to take a little bit of a loss on an item because the market changed, or you made that bad decision in the first place, but at least you're still selling that item, and that's important. You want to, if you've made a mistake, you want to try and rectify that mistake as quick as possible. Additionally, Stro is also the add-on creator for Legendary Stock Tracker, a add-on that anybody that's been playing with legendaries in Shadowlands will be aware of. Also talks about the use of market value of materials, and once again why smart average buy price does not always take into account the current market values. A lot of the data we have is much more useful to determine the intrinsic value. However, I always try and find formulas that lean more towards the extrinsic value. Extrinsic values being things like the rarity, the power, the usefulness. Ideally, I would like to use the extrinsic value for everything, but it's a lot more difficult to determine what the value is. At its core, I try to value materials at what it would cost me to buy more of that material, and then craft items that I expect to be able to sell at a profit from those material prices. This is a slightly uncommon way of doing things, but it is still a smart way of doing it. Looking forward, crafting is giving you a huge benefit. Once you have the pattern to craft something, in theory, you can recraft that same item an unlimited amount of times. Whatever it cost you to make the item previously is handy to know, but this is a wise way of doing it. Looking forward and saying, right, well, when I sell this item, what is it going to cost me to recraft it? And basing your selling prices on that is usually going to keep you a lot more competitive. There is a risk that if prices of stuff are going down, you're going to be consistently undervaluing things, but it's turnover, right? And one thing that I try and promote a lot when it comes to goal making is try to forget about profit. Profit will come naturally with selling stuff. If you focus on selling stuff more frequently and being more competitive with how you price your items, the greater the turnover you can achieve. If you can sell 1,000 items in a month, it's better than selling just 100 items in a month. Now, obviously, as long as you're at least making some profit more often than you are not making profit, you still win overall. And it's going to be much easier to do if you're focusing on selling lots and lots of things. And this is a cool, interesting way to price your items, looking at, well, what would it cost me to recraft this rather than what did it actually cost me to craft. Now, looking backwards into the past and determining what it did cost us to craft is quite easy to do. Not so easy to do is looking forward, but it's still a wise way of doing things. Sometimes also simple is a good place to operate. So Noximus says, I make it fairly simple. For anything personally crafted using auction house bought materials, for the minimum price I use the crafting multiplied by the percentage to never go below 100%. I feel it's an adequate for the rarity whilst considering the deposit fee is significant. This is the nice safe route to which most people choose to go. For everything else, normal and maximum value of my crafted pieces, I use an average of the maximum prices for crafting, DB market, DB region, etc. and adding on a modifier to certain groups where the value might be more or less. I use the same string with a different modifier on minimum prices for items I don't craft, but I'm simply flipping. The only problem I've found is that if your modifier is too low after a reset price and you forget to adjust it, you might get caught by an undercutter's drastic price decrease. This is, yeah, in many cases, keeping things simple is a smart way to do it. This first bit is I would say it's the normal way of crafting and selling things. You're utilizing what it actually costs you to craft, and you're going to make sure that you sell it for, what it cost you plus a bit more so you don't lose. But that's just your minimum price. That's the bare minimum. Now, we're not interested so much in selling things for the absolute minimum price. We'd like to sell things a little bit higher than that anyway. And so the normal and maximum prices can be a little bit more flexible. Not strictly based on what it cost you, but closer towards what things like market values might be. Good feedback. I thank all of the people that not only got featured on the Wowhead blog, but also took the time to apply in the subreddit as well. So thank you once again. I actually took a lot of this information and collated it all into one video, saying, well, how to value items in WoW, and gave a little bit of a breakdown of how you can do it in TSM. If you haven't seen the video, go check it out. It's quite valuable, I think, it does require I'd say a medium level of understanding of how TSM works. It's not too beginner focused, but if you know some of the basics of TSM, I think this could really help you when valuing your items going forward. But there we go. Let's move on to something that might be a little bit more attractive. 80+ million gold made in patch 9.1. So up front, I'd like to say this is not a get-rich-quick scheme, nor is it easy replicable. I think opportunities for large goal making change every patch/expansion, so instead of thinking of principles to help you set up for success, I'm using an anonymous account to post this because I intend to continue making gold, albeit much less aggressively. Don't really need the additional attention. It's interesting that this is often the mindset of many gold makers, that they would like to stay somewhat anonymous. I'm of the opinion it really doesn't matter. I make everything that I do relatively public, and I still don't have much issues with unnecessary competition on the realms that I play on. But either way, for the last 3 months though, the US token has fluctuated between 170 and 195,000 gold, making my current liquid gold value of 87 million at a value of $6,000 to $7,000. Pretty impressive. This is why I want to start playing on the NA realms more frequently. But either way, so how did he do it then? Let's take a look. Joined a full pop realm in October with 0 gold, pre-Shadowlands release. Made no significant gold from the launch, but sometime midway through the patch, I made my first million crafting missives for around 2 weeks non-stop. For the missives price tanked permanently. This was probably for the initial blast of legendaries, where missives would just fly off the shelves. I noticed the potential with legendaries, but did not have the capital to fight with the large crafters, so focused on just 2 rank 4s. At the time, the Bone Shatter Helm and the Umberhide Vest. Ironically, neither of these are big sellers nowadays, but I do remember in the early days of Shadowlands, they were pretty popular ones. If you remember 9.0 prices, this took a significant amount of gold to rank them up, and took incredibly long to do with no capital. Basically reinvesting every copper I earned back into crafting more legendaries to then be able to sell. Yeah, early days turnover is a big problem with legendaries. All the more so the reason why I suggest people, use other gold making methods to build a nice pot of gold, and then once you've got that big pot of gold, feel comfortable in, tunneling it all into some of the legendaries to get a bit of a jump start on it. Move on though to April 2021, I noticed raw materials were much lower than at launch and made a crazy goal for themselves. They were going to obtain rank 4 in every possible legendary slot. It's a crazy goal. It's a crazy goal that I've now achieved on 2 realms, and I'm definitely seeing the benefits of doing it. But yeah, I agree. It was expensive to do. I was unemployed back then due to pandemic problems and had plenty of time to play WoW almost full time. I maxed out all the leatherworking slots through mid-May, bought a second auction house account, then maxed out tailoring, then blacksmithing and jewel crafting. It's really interesting to see he started with the most expensive one. I did something similar almost by accident, and I regretted my decision very quickly. Starting with leatherworking, whilst it appeared to be the most profitable, was also the most expensive to level up, meaning turnover was always a problem. I never had enough capital, enough actual liquid gold to recraft everything that I was selling, and it slowed the process down massively. If I was to do this again, I would definitely start with the cheap stuff. I would start with tailoring, I would start with jewel crafting, bang those out, get those leveled up, and get a couple of weeks of sales under your belt. And hopefully then a bunch of gold to go with it, to then invest heavily into blacksmithing and leatherworking to kind of skip that early grind. It's interesting to see people did it this way as well though. Note this was on a full pop realm, so I had plenty of competition, plus profits were not that high mid-patch. I had to repost on the auction house very aggressively and religiously, plus continuously reinvesting profits into crafting new ranks. Never exceeded 3 million gold. This is why I think a lot of people get stuck when leveling up their legendaries, because you do get to this point. You get to a point where every drop of profit that you make is being reinvested into leveling up new stuff, and so you go a huge duration of time without it looking like you're getting anywhere. And this was the problem with starting with leatherworking, right? The fact that the costs were ridiculous. So every time you sold something, you would spend that gold again. And the same thing would happen just every single day. And you'd look at your gold graph after a week, and you'd say, well, I spent 2 hours every day crafting and posting and cancel scanning. And I did this for a week, and I've got no more gold now than I did when I started. What's the point? But what's really difficult is to break down, well, what has your account value increased by? Unlocking those higher ranks is certainly worthwhile, but you've got to there comes a point where your gold does explode, but you go a long time when you start crafting legendaries without feeling like you're getting anywhere. But then when you get to a point where you've leveled everything and you stop having to reinvest everything, your gold explodes, and we'll see that when we look at the graph in a minute. In fact, you can see it exactly here. You can see you just go months and months and months without feeling as if you're getting anywhere. And then out of nowhere, you stop leveling stuff up, you stop having to reinvest everything, and your gold goes crazy. Around May and June, though, was when I started to focus on 9.1 predictions. There was the Auction House podcast and, nicely my YouTube channel, which were some of their biggest sources. Rest in peace, Auction House podcast. I hated the domination socket concept and still do, because it ruined what I thought was my potential to make back the profit. I was convinced I wouldn't even make one single gold cap. There was no smooth sailing at any point. By the time I realised Vestiges required Renown 44, all my secondary crafters had to basically grind Renown from 0 in a week. This was before the 9.1 catch-up. All the people making millions immediately in patch 9.1 were selling the 230 item level gear, which I did not plan to pursue. My biggest competitors also came back during this time, the largest of which was literally posting on 4 accounts simultaneously. Props to the dedication, but was annoying AF to compete against. Do we know what realm this dude plays on? Did he say? I doubt he did, considering he's tried to remain somewhat anonymous. There's a very good chance that he was, coming up against Dirty Irby or Hickons. Either way, where did we get to? Yeah, but immediately once somebody posted in WoW Economy that you unlock Vestige immediately at Renown 44, that's when things started to go uphill. Basically 6 months of non-stop effort worked on through February to July started to pay off, and you can see the gold climb. Was it Frostmourne? Did it say somewhere it was Frostmourne? Okay. Wait, this just goes to emphasize once again, though, right? That you go the longest amounts of time whilst feeling as if you're not actually getting anywhere. But soon as you get to the point where you've got those things leveled up and you're no longer reinvesting all of your gold into continuously leveling things up, once the leveling process is done and you're just focusing on selling and recrafting what sells, you can just do some crazy things. Look how quickly these gold values go up. So from July to August, went from 0 liquid gold to, let's call it 28 million gold in a month. And that was just the start. Then it went from 28 million to 75 million. So about 50 million increase in 1 month. That's 10 million a week profit. That means you must have, this guy must have been selling, I want to say 3 to 5 million gold of value every day, literally 7 days a week. This is actually crafting on a ridiculous scale. I think he goes into some reflections here as well. That'll just it's nice to see this, but you also have to remember that there's ludicrous amounts of effort that goes into this. I mean, he did state up here, right, that he was basically playing WoW full time at that point. He said it somewhere, I can't see it. Unemployed due to the pandemic problems and had plenty of time to play WoW almost full time. So yeah, sure, you can make a dirty amount of gold, but it also takes time. Some reflections though. Reposting. In certain markets, legendaries being one of them, you have to love reposting because that's all you're going to do for months on end. All of your competitors will also be reposting consistently, sometimes like me, almost 12 to 20 hours a day. If you don't like it, just move to a different market. There's plenty of ways to make gold and plenty of strengths to rely on. True, I can't deny, legendaries are one of the most aggressive markets in the game because they hold the key to results like this. Where there's the potential to make this much silly gold, I mean, this is fuck you money, basically, isn't it? This is so much gold that you can do anything you ever want in game forever again. And if you can achieve that in 2 months of, borderline derogatory amounts of playtime. If you can do this in 2 months and then have enough gold to never have to worry about gold ever again in the game, it's worth it to some people. And that's why people do it. Crafting. It takes several hours of pure crafting just to replenish the stock of sales from the previous day. A lot of callous hides, a lot of lightless silk, a lot of desolate leather, soul dust, lacestrite, etc. This was one of the things that is very unrepresented with legendaries. The fact that the intermediate items, now he lists a few of them, but it's often the turning callous hides into heavy callous hides. People will do it just to save a couple of gold each on the heavy callous hides. You're turning lightless silk into enchanted lightless silk. You're turning Elithium ore into enchanted Elithium bars. You're making Shadowghast ingots like a crazy person. There is often just as much crafting time that goes into legendaries as there is relisting time. At least in the peak of it, that was the case. I countless hours, my enchanter just stood there enchanting materials. Now, of course, you can choose to save that time by just buying the materials, but then you're paying a premium on them. And that premium that you pay on them could often push the items outside of the profitable price window for some, meaning that you kind of had to craft the stuff yourself to have even the smallest of chances of, turning it into a win. But yeah, crafting was crazy. There was one point early on in Shadowlands, I actually had 3 accounts running simultaneously just to keep up with the crafting. And I wasn't even banging out results this crazy. I was on a mid-pop server. Doing it on a high-pop server and creating enough legendaries to see these types of results. This dude was probably crafting for 12 hours a day. Just intermediate items. Not obviously crafting the final legendaries, but getting all of the materials in place. It was a long process for sure. Patience, though. The people who make large amounts of gold are the ones who stick it out, not the ones who undercut consistently for a quick sale. I know basically all my main large competitors by name at this point, and none of them practice undercutting. Yeah. If you're in it for the long game, you'll make long game rewards. If you want that quick buck, people get bored real quickly. Price wars. Only 3 times somebody impatient tried to crash a Lego market against me, starting a price war. Instead of just reposting like everybody else, the secret is when you're diversified enough, plus you have the patience, it makes no difference. The person with more capital will always win in the end. Especially when selling a minor loss means basically nothing to you. None of those players stayed in the market longer than a week or 2. Honestly, I did glean a small amount of pleasure from crushing them. After all, they started the fight with me first. Sorry, not sorry. This is true. This is something that people also don't tend to consider too often. A goblin that has tens of millions of gold does not care if they make profit on something. This was the point, right? It is more beneficial to them to post 100 legendaries and be the cheapest one of every one, making lots of sales. And as long as that goblin is profitable on more than 50% of those legendaries, they win. But by taking losses somewhere, it's a massive kick in the teeth to your competition. Those people that level up 1 or 2 profession slots, what did he start with? Bone Shatter Helm and Umberhide Vest. You imagine right at the very beginning, if he'd spent all his gold leveling up Bone Shatter Helms and Umberhide Vests, he had to make sure that those 2 items were profitable. If one of those items wasn't profitable, it was game over. And that's the position you're in very early days with legendaries. But when you have 100 different legendaries being crafted and listed, you no longer care if you make profit on all of them. As long as you just make more profit than you take losses, you win. And this is the scaling. Scaling of goal making gets ridiculous at this point. And this is why price wars don't bother big goblins. If you've got enough liquid gold, doesn't matter. You'll sell stuff for less than it costs you to make it for a week or two until the other players get bored and they stop doing it. And then your prices, because we post things based on a price scale, your prices go back into the profit, and then you continue on as normal. Yeah, trying to take a price war to a big goblin is tough for sure. Let's talk about competitors then. So my partner joked that I spent more time with my competitors than with my partner themselves. Probably true. The truth is, with patience, everybody ends up making gold. There's no reason to be upset about reposting. It's just a cost of business. Nobody knows the goblin life more so than other goblins anyway. We're all connected over something we enjoy doing. Plus, sometimes the market whispers each other and colludes to increase the price of certain items so everybody wins. Little bit dodgy. Your moral compass is swinging in a slightly different direction sometimes, but it is true. I've had many times myself where there's been like two of us selling a legendary. We're both fighting at 70% market price. There's no point. We both cancel ours. We reset it to 150% market price, and eventually one of us will make a sale, and it's happy days for everybody. The big question: are you a bot? No. Auction house bots do exist, but the time and investment needed to level up a character to the point where running an auction house bot would be of any benefit in the legendary market is so outrageous it just doesn't happen. 99 times out of 100, if you think somebody in the legendary market is a bot, they're not going to be. Bots focus on easy wins. The legendary market isn't an easy win. Bots will focus on, farming materials and selling materials. They'll happily sell the materials to the people who are crafting the legendaries and posting the legendaries. Very, very early days, there was probably auction house bots selling legendaries, just purely because they were farming so many materials that they just crafted legendaries because. But nowadays, I don't think that's really a thing. If you're going to come up against competition on the auction house, it's going to be other real characters, and you'll be amazed at the dedication people will put in to sell their stuff. Easy gold making though. Go back in time and buy lightless silk when it was under 1 gold. This never happened on the EU realms. I think the cheapest it got to on the EU realms was about 8 gold a piece. Much below that, there was always somebody ready to buy it all out. Lightless silk did get incredibly cheap though on the NA servers. I do remember that for sure. So buy it when it's super cheap, sell it for 30 times the price. Convert 3 mil into 90 million. No effort required. Yeah, hindsight is 2020, right? Sometimes you see things that happened in the past. I remember very strongly a point when I think Jack the Dipper was basically shouting at Dirty Herbie to buy all of the lightless silk. It was 2 gold a piece on his realm, and he was just like, buy all of it. Buy all of it because it's going to 10x the price come the next patch. And eventually, after a lot of persuasion, he did buy a whole bunch of lightless silk, and I think he was probably very thankful for it. But yeah, sometimes there are markets to be seen when changes come into play, but not always do you see them, unfortunately. Spending gold. I obtain more pleasure earning the gold than spending it, but one day I'll throw 12 to 14 mil to get the black market auction house Bruto service and get that long boy. Amen to that. I will probably do the same at some point. Capital. The rich get richer. It's true IRL. It's also true in game. Yes, very true. If you have lots of liquid gold in this game, it's considerably easier to make even more of it. The perception of money. This one is a bit crazy, but everything becomes cheap and reasonable when you're a millionaire in game. My value of time now is also so much higher. I often turn down to craft items via whispers because it's simply not worth the customer service effort for me to go out of my way to make one sale. Oh my days, I cannot agree with this more so. I quite frequently, in the height of crafting legendaries, would do the exact same. I just would refuse to do face-to-face crafts. And the people on the other end would kind of be like, well, why? You're making a sale. I'm giving you a 10,000 gold tip. And what they wouldn't realise is the 10 minutes it would take me to deal with them, tell them what materials that they need to give me, for me to craft the item, to then find them in some random part of the world. To make 10,000 gold, I was actually losing gold by doing that, because it means I was no longer playing the auction house game. In that 10 minutes of playing the auction house game, I could have sold 10 legendaries and made 5,000 gold profit on each of them. This is true. It seems weird, but when the gold is flowing, you have to focus on the most valuable thing for you to do with your time. I used to think people who spent 10 mil for the Brutosaur were insane. Now I understand why they do it, because it's really not that much gold to spend after a while. I understand how billionaires IRL have skewed perceptions of reality, and I honestly don't think it's healthy for our society or the future. Probably true. I think we all love this game, and I think that there are things that will have to get drastically better for the people who work there too. It will be no real game for us to earn or spend gold on anymore. Shout out to blah blah blah, sure, excellent. All the good stuff. Yeah, and then just some thank you to the WoW Economy subreddit and whatever. But there we go. That sort of is a great example of how the legendary crafting system can pan out. But this is one simple, one player, admittedly who had a lot of time and effort to invest into it, but you can see the results that you can obtain. It's pretty ridiculous. Actually ridiculous, to be fair. But congratulations on that. You are now rich enough to never really have to worry about gold ever again. Okay, last topic for this one today is, do stats matter? I'm getting into the crafted item level 200 plus gear, and I've recently just started crafting stuff with random stats. Is it worth trying to buy missives to decide the stats? There is lots of different viewpoints on this, so let's dive through a couple of them. Short answer, no. Long answer, without elaborating for the buyer, yes, but they will all sell. It's just the non-preferred stats take a little bit longer to sell, while the preferred stats will fly off the shelves. I still craft with RNG stats and sell plenty by only reposting once every 12 hours. This is true to say for the 200 item level gear. The 230 item level gear is where it's more beneficial to start crafting it with missives. Because the item level 230 bit of gear is something that a player is likely to keep hold of that one item for a lot longer. The 200 item level gear is catch-up gear. It's you've leveled that ult, you've dinged 60, you're item level 80 or something pathetic. You go to the auction house and you buy a set of 200 gear. You then go to Corthia, or you do some M+, or go do the raid, and you replace most of that gear in a couple of days. Usually meaning that people don't pay too much of an interest to stats on crafted gear, or catch-up gear, I should say. But the 230 stuff is where it starts to, the borders, it's not quite so black and white. Because somebody's going to buy that item and probably keep it for a little bit of time. They're going to be more inclined to look at the stats on it and maybe buy the stat balancing that works in their favour. FYI, if you use a missive, you can proc double stats. For example, an item level 200 helm with 145 haste and no other stats. It can get pretty wild. I hit 36% haste on a brand new shaman. Yes, there is a little trick you can do. If you only missives, the game asks you to use 2 of them, but if you only use 1 of them, you're basically choosing that one stat, but the one that you didn't use a missive on still has the 4 secondary stats it can roll with. So 1 in 4 crafts, you're then likely to get one of these double stat procs, which are super rare in the game because so few people do it. But in the hands of the right player, that will be a huge advantage to some. I did a video on this a little while ago. There's a little link to it here. If you're watching this on YouTube, scroll down a bit, you'll probably find it. Some people may hate me for sharing this, but crafting multiple of the same gear is the lazy man's trick. As others pointed out, stats on gear do matter, but to address this, there are 3 approaches to crafting and selling. 1, use missives. Missives are not worth it when the profits are thin, which is the case for most high pop realms and even medium pop realms. Low pop realms, though, people tend to buy whatever's the cheapest available. From my experience, things may vary on different realms. Stats still matter, but it matters less compared to the extra time you need to craft them. This kind of refers to what I was saying earlier. Second option is just craft a whole bunch of everything without missives so that you get a good number of each stat combination. This ends up working really well for the realms that I play on, full pop and low pop. There may be some concerns from theory crafters that this approach would end up crafting a lot of gear of unwanted stats. I honestly worried a little bit about it before I tried. My results tell me though that didn't and would not happen. So if you just sell the unwanted stats 1 gold cheaper than the other stats, they will still sell. This is the thing, right? Some people, when they go to the auction house, will look for the stats. Everybody else just buys the cheapest. So you can cover both markets. If you're crafting enough of each item, you can comfortably cover both markets. Both will sell, and then you just recraft. The third, I would call the min-max approach. It's a combination of 1 and 2. You start by crafting a bunch of each gear. After some sell, if any unbalancing appears, you correct the balancing with missives. This is a very timely system, right? If you're trying to sell a lot of something and you're crafting a lot of something, the last thing you want to do is micromanage it. You want to just say, right, TSM, craft me 10 of those items and list 10 of those items. If you're doing things at scale, you want to allow that scaling to be effective. If you try and do something at scale and then micromanage all the way, you're not actually scaling. You're spending 5 times more time to achieve 5 times better results, which simple math tells you you're not actually doing any better. This is the one I wouldn't suggest doing, because the time it will take you to actually implement this is not worth it, not at all. Not to mention, yeah, working out which ones would have sold is an absolute pain in the ass. You'd have to remove all of your items off the auction house. You'd have to, order them all. You'd have to see which ones you've got, because, yeah, it's just absolute nightmare. Do not do number 3. In my opinion, sure, but do not do number 3. Pick 1 or pick 2. Either craft a lot of everything and just post a lot of everything, or craft 1 or 2 and use missives to get exactly what it is you're looking to craft and sell. Option 3 is not actually scaling. That's a bait. Don't fall for that one. But 1 and 2 makes perfect sense. 1 and 2 absolutely makes perfect sense. There are also some differences if you're selling item level 87, 200 and 230 gear, as each will have its own market demands. Largely it depends on how deep you want to get into the market, but for general base item level, mass crafting works in most situations, yeah. For low level catch up stuff, just craft a bunch of it, throw it on the auction house. For the higher end stuff that for starters is more expensive to craft in the first place, that's where you might want to start looking at missives to sort of keep the number of items that you craft to a minimum, but make sure that you're actually getting the ones that other people want. Not only to mention though, it's kind of difficult to work out what it is that everybody wants unless you've got a really good understanding of like all, what is it now, like 36 specs in the game or something. You're probably not going to know, right, well, is haste worth more to more people, or is mastery worth more to more people? You don't know. I like to go with a simple approach, craft a bunch of everything, post a bunch of everything, and the market will tell you the answers. But there we go, boys and girls. This was this week's Wowhead Economy Weekly Wrap-Up. This was episode 195. I hope you enjoyed. If you want some further reading, you can head over to the WoW Economy subreddit, or equally jump over and check out the Discord server. And lastly, of course, we have to give a little bit of a shout out again to Samadan, who puts this little report to us each and every week. But if you enjoyed that, boys and girls, remember to give the video a like, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace. Clap it up, boys and girls. Clap it up. YouTube voice deactivated. There was some like Mastery, which for Demon Hunters is trash, but Mastery for a Monk is rather good. But this is it. Focusing on... I think that focusing on stats is great and all, but who's to say that one stat is actually more valuable to the average player than... I mean, it's generally thought that haste is the one that people tend to be lacking at the beginning of an expansion. So focusing on haste is maybe a good sort of good point. But like what was just said there, like Mastery, for example, on Boomkins is god tier. You want as much Mastery as you can get your hands on. So it's different for every class, and when there's so many different classes now, it's almost as if that there isn't just a best secondary stat. So crafting a little bit of everything, you're attracting as many people as possible, I think. The stats are usually determined by what Icy Veins say. Well, yeah, true. In a perfect world, all stat combinations would be useful to somebody. Yes. Yeah, in a perfect world, if balance was a thing, but balance isn't a thing, is it? Anyway, I've got to take a break for 2 minutes, boys and girls. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there's a hell of a lot of bashing and crashing going on. I need to go work out what the hell's happening. I think my next door neighbours might be doing some DIY. Let me go check out what's going on. Back in 2 minutes. Alright. It appears the next door neighbours are doing some DIY. There's fuck all I can do about that then. Back when there were gem colours, somebody did a survey of all the specs and counted how many used it. Then again, I didn't take too much into stats when I raided. Stats are weird, right? Can't even... sometimes I, like... Because the min-maxer approach makes it sound sensible that people do care about stats. But more I play the game and more I see how the game is played, I don't think people... I don't know. This is why I think if it's... if you can't decide on what the right answer is, do both. which I think is why this works quite well. Like, option 2 works quite well. If you can't decide, if it's not super obvious relatively quickly that one item is better than another because of stats, just craft all of them. Just craft all of them, because if you can't make that decision really quickly, I'm sure there are others that can't either. And when it's catch-up gear, people buy it with the expectation of replacing it very quickly. %90 of the time I don't look at stats, I just look at item level. See, that's how the player base has been trained, right? You're naturally trained to care about item level. And if you really care, you look a bit further than that. But the game itself has trained you to care about item level before anything else. How do you learn that if you can't craft anything higher than 151, you actually the crafter's marks are often learned through some sort of rep grind. The two highest versions, the crafter's mark 3 and the crafter's mark of the chained isle, are reputation rewards from Corthia. My Demon Hunter literally has an item that was 20 item levels lower that gave you a higher DPS than the higher one, since the stats were so messed up. It can happen. It can happen, but it's so rare nowadays. Should we check the oh, there's only 6 comments. Surely the comments can't be that tragic. Reposting in certain markets, legendaries being one of them. You have to love oh, this is a quote. You have to love reposting because that's all you're going to do for months and months. This is why the WoW markets suck. This sounds like a salty dude. Like, play the game or get played. This is the opinion of somebody that would also say that Arena sucks because everybody's got more gear than he does. Fuck off. Go play something else. I hate this mindset. Absolutely hate this mindset. Like, the meta is the meta. You don't have to follow the meta, but if you want to be competitive, you're going to have to. If you don't enjoy following the meta, then go do something else. This isn't the reason why WoW markets suck. This is the meta for selling legendaries. You can make fuck loads of gold. You can make more gold in this game than you could ever need without ever touching legendaries. Which in turn means that you wouldn't have to cancel scan. The most competitive cancel scan market in the game by a long shot is legendaries. Ah, it annoys me so much. I said there's only 6 comments and I've been triggered by the first one. Sure. It's unfair that somebody who put in more time and effort than me got better results. Yeah, it just drives me insane. Drives me insane. Anyway, first comment in. We need additional deposit, and that is forfeited only when cancelling or something. On high pop servers, it's insane the number of people doing bot-like behaviour. Either bots or human players playing like bots, reposting for hours on end. No, this doesn't fix it. No, this doesn't fix it. All this does is incentivize deep undercutting, which in turn will mean within 3 minutes of a market being available, there will be 0 profit in it for anybody. This was the problem that we had previously. That undercutting was the meta, which meant it squished everything. And then everybody would look at the professions and say, well, the professions are shit because I can't make profit on anything. It's exactly the same. This is actually a worse problem. At least with the way that the cancel scan meta works now, if people are reposting without undercutting, there is an equal opportunity for all of those people engaging in that to sell something and sell something at a profit. With this system in place, it's a race to the bottom. Once the bottom has been reached, nobody, however much effort that they put into it, is going to make profit, which in turn means it's shit for everybody. This is a shit for everybody situation. This is a annoyance to the ones that want to do it, but they still, the cancel scan meta is actually better than what it was. But people are just dumb. Sorry, Jimmy. Sorry, Jimmy Joe. Jimmy Joe is not the bomb. Not at all. Your comment has gone boom like a bomb. It's terrible. Just like in real life, the winner will be the one who will work for less. Yeah. This is more wrong than this. I'm not sure after 2 I want to go any further. Let me finish eating my biscuit and then we'll carry on. I thought eating an Oreo in one go would be sensible. It wasn't. Anyway, reposting and still the undercutting is going to cut into your profits depending on the server and item. Legendary base items sell very slowly at low ranks in desired slots. And you got to be there every hour to be the last one up on the auction house to get the first sold or you miss out. The loss isn't just gold, it's time that could be used to do other things. At the beginning, yes. At the beginning, yes. This is one reason why I always advised people away from power leveling just 1 or 2 slots. People were very intrigued to find out, well, what is the meta? What is the most popular selling item? And I will focus on those. And I tried my best to explain to people why that's a bad idea. The fact that you're putting all your eggs in 1 or 2 baskets. The better option is to be crafting one of everything and level everything up slowly. Across the 4 professions that you have, what is it, 16 different items with leatherworking, another 8 for tailoring, 9 for tailoring, another 8 with blacksmithing. So that's 32, 33, plus 2 for jewel crafting. There's 35 different, even at rank 1, there's 35 different legendaries you could be crafting and selling, just at rank 1. If you were to focus on only 1 or 2 of them, all your eggs are in those 1 or 2 baskets. But if you craft 35 legendaries and post 35 legendaries, the chance of you selling something is much higher, like outrageously higher. Then what you do is whatever you sold, you craft another one and you replace it. That is how you deal with legendaries. Power leveling was never the answer because of this exact problem. Because unless you sell it, you'll waste it. Like if you're cancel scanning on 2 legendaries, you are wasting so much time it's not even funny. Because you cannot possibly sell enough of just 1 or 2 legendaries to make it worthwhile cancel scanning. This was the thing. I probably never explained it very well. in the past. But it's the logic behind why I never recommended people power level. Craft one of everything. Level up slowly. Eventually, I mean, if there's, 35 at rank 1, there's going to be 70 by the time you've unlocked rank 2 of everything. 70... There's a potential, what's it, like 210 different 740? Yeah, there's currently 210 different combinations of legendaries. Rank 1 through till 6 in like 35 different item slots. And this is why goblins do this eventually, right? Because it's at this point they've leveled all 200 and something legendary options, and they're posting and selling possibly up to 200 different legendaries at any given time. Which, like, if you're posting 200 items that are 50k a piece, no wonder you make a lot of gold really quickly. But the problem is it takes a lot of time and effort to get to that point. Still need to unlock the vestiges on my tailoring leatherworking. If you're making good profits on the rank 4s, I mean, I wouldn't worry too much. There's frequently less profit in a rank 6 than there is a rank 4 nowadays. Because you can really focus on crafting your rank 4s for cheap and winning that way. It's not really the case like it was in 9.0. In 9.0, you wanted to unlock rank 4 because that's where the profit was. But nowadays, ironically, the profit is still at rank 4. It'll change in 9.1.5, but as it stands right now, the profit's still in rank 4, to be honest. Rank 6s are cool to craft and cool to sell. They're often going to be, your big turnover items, but stat for stat, there's less profit in a rank 6 most of the time. Except how many can level all of the Legos? One out of 1,000 on Realm. I never saw low level Legos sell for profit on NA. It's not so much about selling them for profit, it's more about just selling them. This is the thing, once again, like this is why I never recommend getting into legendaries unless you're, at least at the beginning, willing to lose a lot of gold. Because it's just the nature of the game. If you supplement the leveling of legendaries with your other goal-making professions, if you're primarily focusing on, like, I don't know, consumables, potions, flasks, enchants, gems, that sort of stuff. If you primarily focus on those and use the profit that you make consistently on those to slowly but surely chip away at the leveling of your legendaries, and then by the time that you've got enough legendaries that they can hold their own, then zerg legendaries and milk that cow until it's got no more. You said craft them and restock when profitable to level. Well, yeah, in an ideal world, I'm not gonna, I'd ideally craft them and sell them when they're profitable, but do I dare read the rest of the comments? I think we're getting to the point where people are just responding to other comments. Is there some reason that first in, first out with a mandatory minimum for undercutting, something like 1% or 500 gold, whichever lower, wasn't implemented? Last in, first out just encourages this absurd behavior. It absolutely limits the markets of... No, it doesn't. No, it actually doesn't. No. Is this the same dude? It's the same dude. 256? Yeah, it's this. Of course. Yeah, same dude. I was going to say that, like, the same dude that just says, oh, this is why WoW markets suck, then chimes in with an equally... Yeah, sure. No surprise. Right, I need to stop reading the comments. Like, yeah. Let's go on to something. So let's switch topic real quick. Switch topic real quick. Right, we got a little bit of time left still in the stream today. I think it's might be sensible. Which account is this one? To continue leveling up our NA character, because I'm feeling that we're a little bit behind over there. Let's log on to NA real quickly then. Is it this one? Nope, wrong account still. Too many accounts. That one, go. Sounds like my next door neighbours are about to explode through the wall. What are we up to? We should be like 56. Ooh, getting there. Getting there. Are we in? Hang on, if we're 56, that means we should be going to Ardenweld very soon. I think. If we're not already. I can't remember. See what Zygor tells me. Zygor will guide us. Like a shining beacon. Not a fan of Samadan. He seems to spend way too much time for so little profit. All adds up, but it takes way too long. I can hit cap 10 times faster than him just selling mogs and mats. Samadan enjoys the journey. Samadan never really feels I don't think he's in it to make millions, you know. He enjoys the journey. He likes chipping away at it slow and steady. He's not out there to do anything super fast. He doesn't enjoy farming, which is why he doesn't do farming. He enjoys his crafting, but he's a family man nowadays. He doesn't have all the hours in the world to play the game, so he chips away at it slowly. The thing you should take from Samadan is that he absolutely knows what he's doing. That's the big advantage Samadan has. He's very well educated. He's got the right sort of mindset for gold making. Even if he does it at a much slower pace than most are comfortable with, he's got the knowledge there. Right, we'll let our auctions do our auction things. Let's head over to wherever it is we're going to continue leveling. What we might do, you know, it might be worthwhile getting our random dungeon out of the way for the day. 50k experience for smashing out a dungeon real quick. So let's get that queued up. And let's go continue leveling. We're still in Moldraxxus. Looks as if we're at the tail end of the Moldraxxus storyline though, which is good. His content tends to be better for new goblins. That is true. His slow and steady approach is very good for beginner goblins, without a doubt. I know full well that a lot of the content I produce is at more of an advanced level, and I tend to I try not to gloss over the entry level stuff, but the problem is I'm never doing the entry level stuff myself, unless we're doing something like this where I mean the reason I wanted to come and play over on the NA realms is it gave me a really good excuse to start from nothing again, and to be able to focus some content on the initial grind. We'll see. Why is it sending us? Why are we going to the mall all of a sudden? Whatever. I watched his streams, wasn't that impressed. I agree he's got the knowledge, though, no dispute in that. Yeah, I mean, I have nothing negative to say about Samadan, other than his content just isn't for me. I'm at a position goal making wise where I'm 10 steps further ahead than what his content is designed for. But if you're just getting going, there's a lot of valuable information he has. What's going on here? Why is it now telling us to go to the Theatre of Pain? Can this make up its piss in mind? I'm going to ignore it. Charge the Eben Blade Amulet. Kill enemies around this area. Fill it. Okay. Oh my god. I went to mount up. I can't even mount in the moor on this character yet. Oh, that's 7 levels of gross. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Do you think Blizz will add a scrapper for the crafted Lego armor from Profession, but not the final? No. No, I don't think they've got any reason to add it for base items. Not at this point. Enjoy the walk. It's going to be a slow and steady walk. Rank 1 armor doesn't sell anymore. It sells. It's just not. It's not. See, this is this ties in nicely to what we were saying earlier. It sells for less than it costs to make it. True. Its value is less than what it costs to make it. Does that mean that its valuation is wrong? No. It just means it's not valuable to craft it. But if you want to progress to the higher ranks, you have to craft it. So there's are you willing to, you know, take that risk of crafting something that's not actually valuable once you've crafted it to get to the stuff that is valuable to craft? It's up to you. Look at most enchants, for example. Most enchants are not worth half the cost to craft them, but there's still lots of them about because they're crafted in mass by people leveling the profession. Rank 1s fall into that same situation nowadays, really. It was nice once upon a time that they were worth more than, you know, the material cost to craft them, but unfortunately it's not the way anymore. $70 gold per piece. Yeah, they don't have high value. If they're not valuable, don't craft them. If they're not worth your time to craft them, don't craft them. Nobody's forcing you to craft them. Now I know that's me being deliberately facetious, but that's the way the profession works. It is okay for not everything to be profitable. Not everything needs to be profitable. It's annoying when it's not, I agree. But it doesn't need to be profitable. We certainly, for the love of God, don't want to see a scrapper. Don't ever want to see a scrapper ever again. Even if you're a better artist than Bob Ross, it's still relaxing to watch him paint. Samadan is the Bob Ross of goal making. Yeah, I don't know exactly who came up with that sort of nickname for him, but it's very true. Very true. Uh, 110 out of 120. Let's kill 1 or 2 more things. I'm not going to run too far into the moor because we're only going to have to run back. Let's see if we can find something up here to kill. I'm ready for a new expansion though. I mean, I think it's quite a way off before that's going to be a thing. Subbed for the first time NA first of this month. Got 10 days left. I'm at 1.7 million and 2 tokens already bought. It's not a flex or a brag, but if I followed Samadan by the book, I'd be nowhere near where I am now. But that's true. That's true. Now where are we going? This way. Oh, there's me trying to mount up again. Oh dear. From the 9th till the 16th, I sold 20 rank 1s, 10 rank 2s, and 11 rank 3s. Cancel scan disabled on that group and just relisting for 48 hours. Yeah, I mean, they do sell. There are still people that are buying them for some reason. The argument comes, though, is not that it's because people want everything to sell at a profit. This is the thing, right? There's a difference between saying something doesn't sell and saying that something doesn't sell for a profit. It's a very different discussion. Unfortunately, we don't have sell rate on individual legendaries. We only have sell rate on the overall piece itself. But if we had individual ranked sale rates, you'd probably see that they still sell. Like, genuinely, they still sell. You can sell them. You're just not going to make any profit on selling them. Can you imagine just how unpolished a new expansion would be right now? Do you even think they have the framework for it yet? Let alone the art assets, voiceovers, quests, etc. Probably not. I'm still of the assumption that they're working heavily on Shadowlands content of which they would like to have had out already, but for various reasons they probably haven't. At least that's kind of my hope, right? I would rather see Shadowlands be a 3-year expansion and them have the next expansion, you know, properly ready when it launches, than them just continue to chase their tail by rushing and just trying to churn out underperforming stuff. If you half cook everything, you're never going to get a good meal out of it. And that's the problem that Blizzard are facing right now. That because they're trying to catch up, because delays have happened, and they're desperately trying to catch up, that they end up half cooking everything. They release a whole bunch of systems, none of them which are actually well thought out of and fully polished. And so everything just tastes shit. And people get bored of eating shit food every day. Occasionally, you want a nice gourmet meal. Or at least one with a bit of flavour. I mean, if I talk any more in metaphors, I'll probably lose all understanding of what I'm actually trying to say here. But the point still stands, is that I would much rather them make a really good... take the time that they need to make a really good next expansion, and have that be the case, even if it means that we've got another 18 months of, even another 2 years of Shadowlands. I'd rather Shadowlands be, just annoyingly long than have another shit expansion. Ooh, an item upgrade. Go on then. Saying that Blizzard invented too many ham dogs. What you really want is a filet mignon with dolphin wild potatoes. Yeah, exactly. Occasionally, you just want a nice gourmet meal to tuck into, right? A ham dog is cool occasionally, maybe at the weekend, but you don't want to only eat ham dogs. I like that tie back to the last stream. Well done. The Money with Men want an expansion every 2 years, though. Yeah. Oh, this is the battle that. This is where the developer of a game is always in constant battle with the publisher of a game. And this is more so true in the gaming industry than anywhere else, I feel. You don't see films get rushed out by companies just because. You don't see books get released without a final chapter. You don't see albums be released with only 6 tracks in them. The gaming industry seems to be the most offensive industry for just churning out shit way before they should do, just for the purpose of churning out shit. And it's a mentality that has to change eventually. If Sony Entertainment Pictures did nothing but release dog shit films for 5 years because they rushed everyone and wanted to keep to a strict schedule, then eventually they'd go bankrupt. But the problem is the gaming industry has so many offensive monetization systems, and they do their utmost to persuade everybody that, oh, well, we need these microtransactions to make the games profitable, which is absolute BS. The gaming industry is one of the most profitable industries in the world, yet they paint this picture of that nobody ever makes any money in gaming. It's just one of the biggest industry lies ever. This is going to end really badly. Hang on. Let me stop ranting for a second and pew pew for a minute, because this could go terribly wrong. I think we might be alright. Oh, we're good. Fine. Oh, how are we going to do this? Are we actually going to do this, or are we... Okay. I just hate the mindset Blizz has of making systems to get people back who quit rather than pleasing the current player base. Yeah. And that's an issue, right? These new systems that they implement, not everything needs to be a fucking system. There doesn't need to be a system for everything in the game. Like, keep it simple and the game will be... Let the quality of the game shine through. If the gameplay is fun and engaging and interesting, you don't need ridiculous amounts of systems. Like, a complex system is just a distraction from the fact that the gameplay is shit. Let's make things so complicated and so convoluted and so meta-driven that it distracts away from the fact that, well, actually, it's just boring. Now, that's probably not the discussion that happens, you know, between the developers, but I think ego has a lot to do with it with Blizzard, though. And I'm hoping that of recent times, that ego has taken enough of a knock for them to hopefully, you know, maybe go back to the basics, you know, create something that's just fun. Like, just fun. Get rid of some of these pissing annoying time gates. We don't need a time gate for everything. Give us a time gate for one thing, sure, but let us grind out other things where needed. And give us the choice to not do it if it's not fun. And let us tell you what's good and what's not. Don't put mandatory power grinds in content that you know is undercooked, e.g. Torghast, I'm looking at you. Like, if you want people to engage with Torghast, make Torghast fun. If you attach a mandatory gearing weekly grind to it, sure, your engagement numbers for Torghast are going to look good. But people aren't doing it because it's fun, people are doing it because they feel as if they have to do it. Which can only sustain for so long. Until, you know, the bubble bursts. And when the bubble bursts and 50% of your player base fuck off to play Final Fantasy overnight, guess what? You got a problem on your hands. A problem that's then going to be twice as difficult to overcome as to what just creating a good, fun, engaging game would have been in the first place. Ugh. I'm not even hungry. Why am I ranting? I'm sorry. I go off on these wild tangents occasionally. I've played this game for too long and I enjoy the game still too much for me to not... Like, the worst thing for me would be when I no longer care. Like, I have these, like, ridiculous outbursts and these rants because I still enjoy the game and I still want to play the game. I want the game to be better and it's just frustrating when it's not. Dude, eat a Snickers or something? I know. Yeah, you're right. The moor's such a sad zone, always felt depressed going to it. It's kind of the point of the moor, though. It's basically meant to be the equivalent of hell. Yeah, but in a game, hell can still be made to be fun, right? Look at the Resident Evil games. What is going on here? What the love of all that's holy is going on here? Okay. Like the Resident Evil games, you're literally, you know, being attacked by zombies. That is the definition of hell. But guess what? Still fun, because they're good game developers. You can have a negative, you know, themed, like a negative theme to a zone while still making it fun and engaging and make players want to do it. Do you think when classic fresh servers open we'll see big numbers and excitement for it like we did in 2019, or do you think the novelty is gone? Novelty's gone. Novelty's absolutely gone. I think Blizzard killed the classic vibe with TBC. I think their money grabbing cash cow approach to TBC classic has killed that. Like people at this point would be more happy to go back to private servers than they would anything that's Blizzard supported now, which is sad because they've lost trust in Blizzard. They can't trust Blizzard to not change it and to not try and not try and cash cow it. People are excited for Classic to come back out because, you know, people have not been able to play that variation of the game for 15 years. The whole no changes thing was, you know, welcomed in by the community for the most part. You know, obviously after a large amount of, you know, toing and froing about what is considered a change and what's not. But then when they, you know, just cash cow the crap, implement boosts, there's rumors of tokens. They've tried, yeah, they you know, Activision's had their way with TBC. I think that most players that would want that classic-like experience are more often than not going to turn to private servers again now. Because the private servers were there to fulfill the need of the players, which was to create a fun experience for the players. Blizzard have proven that they can't do anything without needing to make disgusting amounts of money from doing it. I know this is a hot take because I understand businesses have to make money, but the original philosophy behind bringing back TBC, bringing back, you know, Classic, the goal should not have been to make money. Do what you need to do, sure, to, you know, cover your costs, but it was meant to be something that was laser focused for the players of the game. You guys wanted to bring back this, so we're bringing this back to you. It should not have been, well, we now need to make lots of money from this at the cost of the actual, you know, value of the game. I'm ranting again. God damn. Just the wording. Hang on. I'm going to get squished. Oops. I didn't pay any attention. Whoops. Just the wording and the money grabbing showed how out of touch Blizzard got. Portal Pass? Like, what the hell? Yeah, exactly. There is no way they should ever have offered a boost for TBC Classic. No way. Like, that was just an advert for bots. A game that was going to have a botting problem to begin with, because it did back in the day, and without something like a token, you know, something that players have got used to in retail versions of the game, there was obviously going to be the problem. And the boost was just like opening the door to bots. And it wrecked the game. Can I get a res, please? Oh, thank you. Oh, that's the last time I do a dungeon. I go off on a mad one like that every time I do a dungeon. Oh, whoa, hang on, what's going here? What's going on here? Where's my pet gone? Pet do pet things. Go, go, go. Oh no, now I'm being... Whew. No, Zygor, I'm not hearkening to the theatre of pain. Play catch up. On with classic raid content, it's way too easy. All there are speedruns, and that's not for everybody. I've played on hard-tuned private servers, and it was fun as hell. Yeah, there's a multitude of people that want different things from the game now as well, which is entirely understandable. This is why there's always a problem with, you know, re-releasing old versions of games, because the industry's moved on, the player base has moved on. 15 years ago when Classic came out, like the idea of pressing more than 3, like there was nothing that was even remotely, like, it was so out of the ordinary to even have a character, and to have to spend like 100 hours leveling that character before you'd even get into the raid was outrageous. Now it's just the norm. Player bases move on. There are guides everywhere. Like half of the attraction to World of Warcraft back in the day was that everything wasn't data mined. Everything wasn't freely available. You didn't know everything. This is why most of us, for the first couple of years of playing this game, were terrible players. Because we didn't know anything about the game. Now, with very little time or effort investment, you can know basically everything you need to know about the game. And you play it all. People have had years of practice playing this game at such a high level. That Classic was never going to be hard. People knew that Classic would get cleared in a day, but that's how it should be. Like, let people get their nostalgia kick and be done with it. I feel Overwatch is too late for them. The hype, the excitement is long gone. When it finally comes out, I think it will be a big hype first month and then die off. People play it. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Overwatch 2. I never really got into Overwatch 1, so I'm the wrong person to ask, but that style of FPS game is really not my jam anymore. I liked playing stuff like that 10 years ago, but Unreal Tournament and stuff was good fun, but the current versions of it, not really my thing. Overwatch 2 isn't out yet. Didn't they announce it like 5 years ago? I believe the Overwatch 2 announcement came at the BlizzCon where they had virtually nothing else to announce. So they had to say something about something. This is also the thing, right? Just because Blizzard have got like, let's call it 4 or 5 main IPs, doesn't necessarily mean that they should have an announcement for us every year. Like, oh. It's exhausting to try and keep up with this sort of stuff. I feel for the, you know, people actually making the game. The pressure involved of creating games nowadays must be gross. What's up, Zan? Good to see you, my man. Welcome in. Liked your little vendoring video, by the way. Oh, what's going on here? Can't keep up with zoomers in FPS games anymore. Nah, that's way too much like hard work, that is. Why I like Factorio. Slow and steady. Play at my own pace. I think Overwatch will be fun when they release it, and it'll retain players for a month or so. They'll probably make just enough money on that. Yeah, because they'll sell it with a full ticket price. They'll sell it with a full box price, and in the first month they'll make $1 billion on loot boxes, and they'll do what any other AAA publisher does. Cash cow the first month while it's hype, and then just, you know, as long as they make enough money in the first month to cover the costs and make a briefcase or two of profit, they're all good. Okay. Come on, Venari, where are we going? What are we doing? Follow Venari to Peridish and hold. Alright, let's go. Let's roll. Zygor's having a real problem right now. It keeps telling me to Hearth the Theatre of Pain, which is definitely not something we should be doing. These guys, okay, sure. Venari, just zero shits given, just stroll through the mobs, no problems. I wonder what's going to happen with Venari. Like, I know she's a, like... I think this is one of the things, right? That, like, I don't know if the storyline's going to fully pan out. They're going to... If they choose to not do a 9.3, they're going to have to wrap up a lot of things real quickly with 9.2. I mean, obviously we don't know that that's the case yet, but everything that Blizzard has said has indicated that they'll, you know, attach a full patch cycle to this expansion. But that would in turn mean it has to be a 3-year expansion, which heavily goes against the overlords that are Activision. But if that is the case, if we do lose patch 9.3 because of all of the shenanigans, there's going to be a lot of storylines they're going to have to close up in 9.2 somehow. Not 3 years of this, please. Hey, if 9.2 comes out and it's fun and there's lots of new stuff in it, there's no problems, right? Hey, people hated 9.1. Sorry, what was it? 7.1. Legion, first patch of Legion. People were like, even Legion, what is now considered one of the best expansions Blizzards have done, had a very rocky start. Very rocky start. Admittedly, the foundations were there, so they were able to fix them, which I don't think is the case for Shadowlands. The class order halls were there, the artifact weapons were there, they obviously needed a bit of tweaking and tuning, but, you know, it was a system, oh, dare I use the word system again, but it was a system that was there and it was implemented. They just had to fix it. Obviously, legendary acquisition was gross at the beginning of Legion, but they were able to fix that as well. And eventually, Legion turned out to be a pretty stellar expansion. But it definitely started rocky. Now, at least their advertised philosophy for Shadowlands was to put all of the systems in the game to begin with, and then they could tweak and tune them throughout the expansion. Which was good and all, apart from by trying to put all of the systems in at the beginning of Shadowlands, they basically didn't polish any of them. which is a big problem, because I hate to say it, but I would imagine that they will probably, we've already seen it, they will probably axe a lot of the systems that they implemented, because it's easier to just get rid of them and replace it with something else than it is to fix an already broken system. Conduit Energy, I am looking at you, by the way. Which is exactly against what Blizzard said they were going to do this expansion, but, you know, shit changes, right? Soon enough we'll know if Jail is the last boss in the raid in 9.2 that they will skip 9.3. That's true. That's true. You can do core through at 56? No. This is part of the campaign. This is the part of the campaign. Got a new mic working now? Yeah, I think I've kind of got it at an acceptable level. I'm still not perfectly pleased with how I've got it set up, but I'm not an audio engineer. I've got very little idea of what I'm doing with a lot of this stuff. Not to mention, there's there's a phrase I like, right? That you can polish a turd, but it's still just a pile of shit. There's you know, and unfortunately, I don't have the most, you know, radio-esque voice in the first place. It doesn't really matter what I do with it. My voice is always going to be a little bit scratchy and a little bit, you know. We don't have that smooth Bob Ross level of voice. So. Been MIA for a week. Don't worry about it, my man. Don't worry about it. Good to see you. Maybe you went to his old one? No, I didn't. No. We are still using the new microphone. You got a face for radio? Well, fuck you too, Sonny Jim. Thank you for that. I'll take it as a compliment, even though it definitely wasn't one. Look, I can't help it. I was born with this face. At least you have a face for something. Hey, better than having no face at all. Apologies if you have no face. I don't think there's many people that have no face. I'm bound to offend somebody. Are we about done with Moldraxis now then? Are we going to start flippity-flapping off to Ardenworld? I think we are. We're at 50. We're just about to ding 57. That 58, 59 to 6. 3 levels to go. 3 levels to go. Why can I not accept? Oh yeah, we're waiting for stupid RP to happen. No, why? Oh, meet some dude at the House of the Chosen. Oh, well, maybe I am now hearthing to, That now is a sensible decision to make. Right, now where are we going? We take a flight point. Go. Master Chief doesn't have a face and he's a badass. I suppose I'm sure there's a plenty of people out there that don't. Yeah. Overall, I think my thought process is pretty simple. If they can 9.3 in favor of making 10.0 sooner, then they better have something good ready for 10.0. Like, if they're gonna cut this expansion short, if this is gonna go down, if Shadowlands is gonna go down in history as another Warlords of Draenor, they need to back it up with something pretty special, because it's true to say the player base is has not got much patience left. And what is largely the case with an MMO, I can't remember who it was. I think it's it often gets quoted back to Creparian, but I mean it's pretty logical conclusion to come to, is that without a solid foundation of casual players, an MMO just ceases to exist. You cannot have an MMO that is only 1%, right? Or you can't have an MMO where everybody wants to be the 1%. Obviously, I know it's impossible to only have a 1%, but if everybody that is actively playing wants to be the 1%, then actually nobody's the 1%. You need the majority of the player base to be the casual player base. They are the foundations which an MMO lives on. And when that casual player base is currently playing Final Fantasy, it's not a good position for Blizzard to be in. If they drop Shadowlands to work on 10.0, they're likely to lose their entire player base. But the problem is the casual player base is already gone. And this is why I don't really know what the solution is. It's a tough time. It's a tough decision to work out, that's for sure. It is a bit of a lose-lose situation, but the only way that they can turn a lose-lose situation into a win is by making sure whatever comes next is fucking amazing. And it needs to be, like, Blizzard need to pull every trick out of the book to make the next, whatever content they release, whether it be the next big update patch, whether it be the next big expansion, it's got to be good. No fucking about with unnecessary time gating. Don't piss people off only to, try and recuperate their to look the good guy when you give something back again. None of these shenanigans that they've been pulling for 10 years at this point. They really have to actually, do the right thing this time. And the right thing is not the thing that's going to make them the most money. If anything, the right thing is going to be the thing that costs them a lot of money. You need to make a game that's really good, really fun, that players want to play. If they want to continuously play it for 6 months on end, cool, great. If not, though, let people come in, have a really good month or two of an expansion launch, and be done with it. The more they chase the dollar bills at the moment, the greater the chance there is of them just killing it dead. Blizzard already screwed over the casuals with the Korthia farm. Grinding for 233 gear for 10 years. Well, they've already addressed that in patch notes for 9.1, that they are of the belief that the Korthia grind is too great. I don't think it's that bad. The problem is that that's the only thing that the casual player base has to do. That should be something you're ticking off your list while you're doing other stuff. See, that's the fine line, right? A grind is acceptable. It's all right to have one grind if there's still plenty of other stuff that you want to be doing, and it's just your 20 minutes at the start of the day, you're getting your dailies done, and then you go off and do X, Y, and Z. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But at the moment, there's no X, Y, and Z for most players. The raid, people have probably done it. M+, people have probably done it. PvP is PvP, but the other thing should be things like Torghast. And for as long as they keep trying to force player power, mandatory player power grinds to be part of Torghast, Torghast will be a flop. All of this, as pessimistic as it sounds, is all, coated in large amounts of positivity. That going forward, that they realise this, and if they realise it, they'll do something about it. You mean changing the paintings of semi-naked women? Yeah, very, very valuable use of developers' time there, for sure. One thing that pisses me off even more so was the time gating of the talent tree in Torghast. I love grinding that shit out, and I like feeling that when I'm done with it, their time yeah. That was another thing. When I realised that, I can only actually earn so many, what was it called, tower knowledge? And I reached a cap in the first week or two of my tower knowledge. And it was like, I want to do more of this. And there's actually no reason why I shouldn't be able to do more of this, other than they don't want me getting too powerful in what should be a sandbox experience. And why did they have to time gate tower knowledge in Torghast? They had to time gate it because it was also linked to Soul Cinders. mandatory player power. It all comes back to the same thing. If you link mandatory player power aspects to a feature of the game, you're gonna fuck it over if people get to the point where they feel as if it's mandatory. Torghast should have been just a sandbox experience for you to go in, blast face in a completely broken way, have a load of fun about doing it, and maybe gather some transmog in the process. If that was the case, Torghast would be a blast. You'd have people doing speedrunning contests, you'd have people doing all sorts of stupid things in Torghast because it's fun. People will make their own games up if the content is fun enough. Put Soul Cinders in there, limit it by a weekly lockout though. It feels mandatory, people feel as if they're forced to do it. Being forced to do something isn't fun. And yeah, you've gone and killed it. Well done. Great. Best thing to do is wait. This has been an argument for a while now that there's almost... Oh no, there's me trying to fly again. I can't. The argument being is that there's no point playing World of Warcraft until the last patch of the expansion. You should wait to play the game until the last patch of the expansion because then everything is available to you. If you want to go ham and complete everything, then you go ahead. You go ham and complete everything. Up until that point, it's just time gating all over the place. Level 1 Hogger raids, that's a really good example, right? People will make the game, make silly mini games when it's fun to do. When people end up making up their own games in your game, that's when you know the content is good. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They wanted to time gate the Adamant Vault so people wouldn't get free sockets and conduit boost. Yeah, because it's all linked back to player power. Torghast should never have been an area of the game that was so heavily linked to player power. You would have thought they'd have learnt that by islands. This is the problem. The patterns repeat themselves. And that's what annoys most people. Like, how pissed off were people having to run hundreds of islands to increase the power level of a single item of their gear, often for arbitrary reasons, so that when the new raid came out, they were, you know, caught up enough. You know, it's just silly. They should have learned that if you link player power to a major feature of the game, like what happened with islands, you're gonna piss people off. So why did they choose to do the same with Torghast, an area which ironically got incredible feedback on the beta? People loved the crap out of Torghast on the beta when it was just sandbox, go do ridiculous stuff mode. But, you know, what are you going to do? It's very easy to say all of this with hindsight, but it still stands that they've made the bad choice previously, and it's annoying when you see them making the bad choices repeatedly. Like, you fucked up islands, you made islands annoying for everybody because you linked player power to it. So why would you do the same thing again with Torghast? Just don't. Just don't. Who am I meant to be talking to? Oh, just watch the dialogue, okay. Looked so fun on the beta. It was good. It was a blast. It was a blast. If anything, on the beta, the people were trying. People were leveling new characters. They wanted to test, you know, everything out because it was just Zerg mode silliness. When people say they like something on the beta, Blizzard doesn't read anything past than that they like this tower thing. Thing is gear, but This soapbox never ends this morning. Sorry. So, some days it happens. When I'm doing slightly more mundane stuff in the game, I tend to get into pretty heavy discussions quite quickly. I wouldn't know how it felt because Blizzard never gives me beta access. I mean, with past history, Zan, it doesn't even sound like Blizzard want you playing the game. Never mind the beta. Glad you got your accounts back now, though. Sorry, too soon? It's okay, he'll condense it down into a 30-minute video later. This sort of stuff I tend not to... I'm not too much of a fan of, you know, drama baiting on YouTube. It's funny though, right? If you make a negative video, you'll get 3 times as many views on it as if you do a positive video. Kind of crazy. Feels to me a bit like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Blizzard is afraid of losing players so much that they come up with systems to keep the players engaged, but it's exactly these systems that players don't like and it makes them quit. Yeah. It's just too much focus on the metrics. It's the more you focus on metrics, the worse things actually end up becoming. One thing I've started to do more recently is just ignore a lot more of my stats. You guys know me full well. I am a bit of a stats nerd. I love a good data set. I love, you know, tracking things. I love my analytics. But all the more frequently, the more I find that I focus on that sort of stuff, the less productive I tend to be, weirdly. You know, ignoring how many viewers are watching the stream, ignoring how many views a video gets, ignoring the like to dislike ratio, ignoring the minute by minute analytic tracking that YouTube gives me in videos, this sort of stuff. As long as I feel I'm happy with the content that I'm producing, I try to ignore the stats as much as possible nowadays. Oh, I'm meant to be following some... Where's... Oh, God, now I've lost what I'm doing. Along this way. Where have you gone? Come on, keep up. Yeah, I tend to find the more I micromanage, you know, stats and engagement metrics and this sort of stuff, it's just not good practice anymore. And I think to link that back to, you know, on a much broader, grander scale, like Blizzard tracking, you know, the engagement rate of Torghast is not the right thing to be doing. Yes, like asking the question, how can we get more people to engage with Torghast? Oh, well, let's just, you know, put the major legendary crafting material in there so that people run Torghast every week. That will increase the engagement of Torghast. And then after 4 weeks, they can go and turn around and go, well, look, Torghast was a massive success because 90% of the player base engaged with it every week. Well, no, that's not actually why it was a success, was it? It was a success because you gave people an overvalued incentive for doing it. The incentive for doing something like Torghast in game should be that it's fun to do, not that there's a overly incentivized reward at the end of it so you feel as if you have to do it. But if you just purely look at the data, if you look at the engagement metrics of a zone like Torghast, it paints the wrong picture. You know they gave the number 28 million logins in Blizzard game. You means you logged into a game, but even if it's 1 minute and logged out again. Yeah, it's like the what's the Blizzard Activision as a top level. They track, you know, how many times monthly. What's the statistic? I can never remember these things. These things confuse the hell out of me, but monthly concurrent players or users or something, MCUs I think is what it is. And if you just log into a game, but you log into World of Warcraft and you log into Hearthstone and you log into Diablo, you then count as 3, whereas actually you're still only 1 person. Monthly active users, yeah, there you go. Yeah, they're not unique. They're not unique users. So 28 million monthly active users sounds really good. But no, that's not 28 million people that are playing your game. That could easily be a third of that. It could quite easily, instead of being, you know, 21 million active users, it could be 7. It could be less than that. And if you have 5 accounts, you're considered 5 users. Yeah, that's true. This is often how this is how data is only as useful as the analytics you draw from it. That, you know. I'm just mashing buttons here. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. We seem to be wooing this bird quite well, so. All those 10 druid multi-box armies back in BFA helped push the numbers. Two sets of multi-boxing druids were, you know, the same monthly active users as an entire raid guild could be. You know, it does paint a paints the wrong picture, or it doesn't paint the wrong picture. It just allows data analysts to extract what they want from the data. There's a common argument that there can be such thing as too many statistics. If you have too much data, it's often you know, everything becomes an outlier, which means you can actually basically come to whatever conclusion you want if you've got enough data. And if you've got too much data, you can basically argue anything, which becomes a problem. Not sure where I see the issue with that one, where you log into WoW, Hearthstone, D3, plus you're paying for each one of those game services separately. It's more, well, if you think about it like this, right? It also then means that Blizzard don't lose 1 monthly active user. They might lose 5 or they might lose 4. And when long-term decisions are made based on those numbers, they're misguided numbers. And you're making decisions based on inaccurate data. The reason you have data in the first place is, you know, to give you a better understanding of a certain situation. If that data is then skewed, then the results are going to be skewed. If you're trying to track, you know, how many people are playing a game and to gauge from that how successful that game is, you probably want to know how many people are playing your game. You're not interested in if that one player has 12 accounts or not. That's not what you're trying to find out here. Somebody once said there is no bots, no multi-boxes, no hardcore, no casual in WoW. There's only paying customers. Oh, it's kind of funny because it's also true. I mean, there's very good reason why. There's very good reason to why Blizzard stopped sharing the sub numbers, because they were consistently going down. Like, if the sub numbers were still consistently going up, do you think they'd have stopped telling people about them? No, of course not. You're always going to sing your praises, but you keep quiet about your losses. Especially in business. Because you've got shareholders to please. You want people to invest in your company. You don't want to shout that loud about your losses. You want to shout about the stuff that's good. Hang on. I've not even got the right storyline quest on the go here. Leveling, Shadowlands, Unworld story, go. Where are we at to? Here we go. These were the instant respawn leatherworking skinning spot for a while, weren't they? Until these got nerfed. You got 5 A's in an exam. You're going to talk about them. You're not going to mention the F that you got in French. No, exactly. So, I mean, it didn't take a genius to work out why Blizzard stopped talking about their sub numbers. Because they went from 12 million subs or something ridiculous in Wrath of the Lich King and were consistently losing subs. To the point where it got borderline embarrassing for them to keep telling people about it. So they just took the decision to stop telling people about it. That doesn't necessarily mean the problem goes away. It's just the problem is a little bit more hidden. Blizzard are fantastically good, though, at bringing people back to the game at the beginning of an expansion. They're just proving more and more so that they're not great at player retention anymore. And that can often be for a few reasons, right? People, when it comes to player retention, at a company level, Blizzard should be looking at it, right, well, are there other games out there that are more attractive than ours right now? Is that a leading reason for player retention? Or is it that our game's shit? Or is it a combination of the both? And the way that the market is currently, I mean, stands to reason, you know? Sure, a few big name content creators decided to heavily invest in another game, and without doubt their influence meant that, you know, others followed. But that's not to say it wouldn't happen anyway. "2021's a dead year for gaming." Gaming years tend to be a little bit seesawy. But this is because trying to pump out a game every year is just not sustainable. Especially with the quality that people expect from games nowadays. It's just unfathomable to release a good quality game every year. This is why at least World of Warcraft has been holding on to a 2-year cycle. But you look at the likes of Call of Duty and stuff, where they churn out a new version of the game every year. FIFA do this. EA with all of their sports titles do exactly the same. But they've got 10 years of practice doing that. An MMO is arguably the hardest and most time intensive and most costly type of game to make. To feasibly believe that you can bang out a new expansion to a game of this scale every 2 years is a tall order in the first place. Not to mention when you throw in a global pandemic in the mix, and now a outrageous lawsuit, it is safe to say that 2 years to release a new game under those circumstances is almost unfathomable. Name 3 AAA titles in 2021. I mean, apart from, you know, the churn them out ones, there's not anything huge. Right. But though, boys and girls, we're at a nice, convenient stopping point for today, I think. We got the WoW economy done. We got our auctions listed, which was good. We got ourselves a level and a bit on our NA realm. And I've managed to do more than my fair share of ranting. So we will call it there for today, boys and girls. Thank you all for joining me. We had some good discussion today, even though I try not to, you know, go down the rant road all too frequently. I like to talk about something a little bit more positive, a little bit more constructive, but it is good to think about these things. We'll be back tomorrow, though, tomorrow being Tuesday. For the NA players, will be reset day. For us in the EU, obviously, it will most likely be restock day. See what we need to do tomorrow. Maybe do a little bit more leveling. Maybe do like I'm in the zone to get this dude sort of up and running properly now. I think we're getting close enough that we should just, you know, push forward. So we might do that. But I hope you enjoyed. Keep your eye, if you missed the WoW economy report earlier, keep your eyes on the YouTube channel. That'll be up there before too long. Once I've got the time to rip it down and, you know, do what I need to do. But thank you. I'll see you all again tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day and happy goal making, boys and girls. Peace.